Chapter 123. This was because they wanted to recruit disciples in the mortal world. Pretty much all cultivation geniuses were born in the mortal world. Just like how lotuses bloomed in mud. Without a stench, one wouldn't be able to give birth to a peaceful lotus. Right, with your cultivation, if you enter the ancient celestial path 72 sects, what position will you have? He asked Jade Hanlu. I'm already at Tao Realm Transformation 5, and I can be considered an outstanding person in the celestial path. I can be considered an outer sect disciple. If I break through to Transformation 6 and can use Sciention energy, then I will be an inner sect disciple. If I cultivate the glass jade body, then I will be a core disciple. Then I will be the core strength of the sect, the true higher-ups. Jade Hanlu said, most sects should have such rules. Actually, each sect doesn't have many core disciples. Most of them rely on all sorts of treasures to raise to Tao Realm Transformation 8 True Flame, but when they form the glass jade body, the true flame will burn their brains and they won't be able to control it. They will either burn themselves to death or become mad. Only 1 out of 100 Tao Realm Transformation 8 True Flame cultivators will succeed. Also, if one doesn't cultivate the Tao Realm 9 Transformation Glass Jade Body, one's lifespan will only be around 150 to 200 years. Moreover, after 150 years, one will age quickly and their vital energy will weaken. Long Yun said, I once saw an old ancestor of Dragon Sword Island who cultivated to Tao Realm Transformation 7. On the day he was 150, his energy dissipated and he became like a normal old man. In the end, he couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide. This is the miracle of creation. The strong can't escape fate. Guchen Sha sighed and suddenly thought about Heaven Talisman Emperor. Let's head back. Heaven Talisman Emperor is really prosperous. Upon seeing the trio leave, the experts who were watching the entrance of the eternal trading firm hurriedly entered the building. Prince, they have left. Should we continue to watch them? An armored middle-aged man walked in front of Gu Tanjian and knelt down on one knee. Watch them. Gu Tanjian's face was ferocious, especially Long Yuyun and Cold Jade-Du, those 2 lowly maids. I will capture them and use them as human cauldrons, pluck them clean, and then sell them to the lowest level brothel. No, I want to send them to the barbarian slaves to be ravaged day and night. I want them to beg for death. Hearing Gu Tanjian's vicious words, the middle-aged man shivered, but he didn't dare to disobey. He hurriedly accepted the order. Then, should we arrest him now? Not now. There's no good opportunity. Gu Tanjian licked his lips, and his eyes flickered with a trace of bloody light. But opportunities will always come. Where is young Lady Luo Wu? Hurry up and lead the way for the heir. The middle-aged man hurriedly berated the servant in front of him. Seeing Gu Tanjian leave, the middle-aged man hurriedly walked out. His forehead was dripping with cold sweat. This guy is getting more and more vicious. It seems like he is cultivating a demonic art to change his temperament. I hope he doesn't go berserk and become a real demon. Otherwise, we'll be in deep trouble. In the Emperor's imperial residence, in the study room, the Heavenly Talisman Emperor was still reading the memorials, as if he didn't know what fatigue was. The ministers in the study room were also following him. All of them were in high spirits. All the major affairs of the world were handled here. Fong Lin, the Heavenly Talisman Emperor, suddenly stopped. Your subject is here. Fong Lin stood up. Your Majesty, what instructions do you have? This person was praised by the Grand Preceptor Wen Hong as a formidable character. He was a scholar who came from a poor family. His gentleness was like jade, and he exuded a capable air. He already had the demeanor of an ancient minister. There's a memorial here. It's Prince Hung. He says that the remnants of the Long clan are killing people everywhere in the sea, and that Prince Chun is protecting the culprit. He hopes that the imperial court can arrest the leader of the bandits, Long Yuyun, for interrogation. What do you think? The Heavenly Talisman Emperor tossed the memorial to Fong Lin. Fong Lin read it carefully. Your subject has heard of this matter. Prince Hung has been guarding the sea for many years, and his power is vast. However, His subordinates are mixed in with the honest folk. There are some people with ulterior motives who want to sow discord between the first prince and the 19th prince. Your Majesty, please understand. It's rare for you to say something like this. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor smiled. If your word spread, you'll offend Prince Hung and the Hung clan. They'll say that he's befriending bandits. Your subject is just speaking the truth. Fong Lin's expression didn't change. Your subject doesn't dare to spread it. The other ministers immediately stood up. It's fine. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor gestured for everyone to sit down. I know that Prince Hung cultivates in demonic arts. He wants to raise his cultivation, and combining righteousness and evil is also a path of cultivation. However, he's gradually losing the ability to suppress the devil. His intellect and willpower aren't strong enough, and he'll inevitably be tempted by the devil. It's important to know one's own limits. Many of the ministers didn't dare to speak. This was a sign that the Heavenly Talisman Emperor was unhappy with his eldest son. Everyone would try to figure out the emperor's intentions. Fong Lin, draft the decree. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor said. Yes. Fong Lin picked up the brush and ink and listened to the Heavenly Talisman Emperor's decree. Confer Long Yuyun the title of Dragon's Word General. She could bring her clansmen back to this island. In addition, change the name of this island to Dragon's Word Prefecture and make it part of the Great Yonko-S overseas territory. Tell Prince Hang's troops to retreat from this prefecture. As the Heavenly Talisman Emperor spoke, Fong Lin wrote quickly. This prefecture is under the control of Marquis Reclamation. Long Yuyun is under his command. Marquis Reclamation? Lu Chongxiao's eyes twitched when he heard this decree. This Marquis Jusher, Marquis Ironblood, Marquis Star Suction, Marquis Thousand Autumns, Marquis Subduing, Marquis Treasure, and Marquis Shimu were the cornerstones of the imperial court. They were once known as the 8 Pillars of Heaven. This meant that these 8 Marquis supported half of the imperial court. There is no need to mention Marquis Jusher. He guarded the Great Stone Wall, and his contributions were unparalleled. Marquis Reclamation's contributions weren't any lower than Marquis Jusher's. He was guarding the bottomless sea of sin. The bottomless sea of sin wasn't at the edge of the Great Yonko, but at the center. There's a prefecture there called the Sin Prefecture. It was rumored to be a lake where gods and devils fought during the ancient war. The bottomless sea of sin was always dark and bottomless. It was rumored to be connected to another world. All kinds of dark and ferocious monsters would often crawl out of the sea of sin, causing disasters on the earth. Dynasties couldn't solve the problem, and even some ancient immortals came to seal them. After the Heavenly Talisman Emperor ascended to the throne, he cut off the mountains in the Sin Prefecture and filled the sea, completely solving the problem. However, he still asked Marquis Reclamation to station there to prevent the monsters from the Sea of Sin from rushing out again. This was one of the 10 major achievements of the Heavenly Talisman Emperor, cutting off the mountains to fill the Sea of Sin. Marquis Reclamation was originally the most outstanding disciple of the Myriad Water Mystical Gate, an immortal Tao sect. However, he later followed the Heavenly Talisman Emperor and became extremely loyal. He would faithfully carry out the Heavenly Talisman Emperor's will, and the Hung family and Prince Hung couldn't do anything to him. The Emperor is increasing the power of the 19th Prince. Many ministers understood. Which one of them wasn't a shrewd person? First, Marquis Jusher became friends with Gu Qinsha. Now, Marquis Reclamation became Long Yuyun's superior, and Long Yuyun turned to Gu Qinsha. In addition, the Heavenly Talisman Emperor even asked Liu Baiwei to be close to Gu Qinsha. In the past, the ministers didn't understand the deep meaning, but now they gradually understood that the 19th prince was already extremely favored. Fong Lin finished writing the decree and read it to the Heavenly Talisman Emperor. Add one more. Let Jade Frost do be a minister in the Ministry of Commerce, 3rd rank. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor said, she will be under Marquis Jubao. Yes. Send out the decree and announce it. Yes. Chongxiao, did the people of the Sky Dance Mystical Gate come to the capital? A few days ago, Ji Qingwu sent me a message, saying that she sent her most outstanding disciple to dance for me to celebrate the move of the capital. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor asked Lu Chongxiao. Yes, that disciple is called Luo Wu, Gate Master Ji's personal disciple. Rumor has it that her dance can subdue all living things and subdue demons. Lu Chongxiao said, I have already brought her to the relay station, but she has been invited by the Eternal Trading Firm as a guest these few days. Summon her to the palace. I want to see her. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor said, Your Majesty, His Highness Fourth requests an audience. Gao Ling tiptoed in. Let him in. The fourth prince, Gu Huasha, walked in slowly and knelt. Your son greets Imperial Father. You have been a little 19, right? The Heavenly Talisman Emperor asked casually. Your son has been there. I wonder if little 19 understood it, Gu Huasha replied. Little 19 has. Do you understand what I mean? The Heavenly Talisman Emperor said. Your son understands. Gu Huasha quickly cowed out. Since you understand, you may leave. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor ordered, Gao Ling, bring my Imperial Seal and Little Four to the Yangwu Secret Vault. Let him choose one item. Your son thanks Imperial Father. Even with Gu Huasha's indifference, hearing the words Yangwu Secret Vault still made him excited. The Imperial Court moved quickly. The next day, Long Yuyun and Cold Jade Du had already received the decree in a manner. After sending off the eunuch who delivered the decree, Long Yuyun was excited. Your Majesty is truly wise. Dragon's Word Island can be at peace again, our clansmen can return home, and from now on, we will be the great Yonko state. The first prince will not dare to act rashly. That's right. You are now under the Marquis of Zhenhai. The first prince cannot do anything to him. Cold Jade Du smiled. I am now under the Marquis of Concourse of Treasures. I will pay my respects to this superior later. You have to reorganize your clansmen and report to the Marquis of Zhenhai to guard Dragonword Island. I didn't expect Imperial Father to understand my thoughts. Gu Qinsha thought about it. He still had to recruit Baiyu Nation, while Long Yiyun returned to Dragonsword Island to reorganize her clansmen and rebuild her power. That way, they could work together. Your Highness, my parents and younger siblings will remain in Your Highness' residence. Long Yiyun said, I hope that Your Highness will allow my younger brother to become Yiming's disciple and learn from him. Of course. Gu Qinsha thought about it. When you reach Dragonsword Island, you still have to be careful of Boss. His cultivation is profound, and he suffered a great loss this time. He will definitely not let this go. Although you are now an official of the Imperial Court, and he will not dare to act recklessly, he still has many sinister tricks up his sleeves. He has taken in many old demons. I know. Long Yiyun regained the spirit of an expert from before. Although my strength is meager, I still want to fight the first prince. Now that I have a universe box, I can contact you at all times. Build a good relationship with the Marquis of Zhenhai. Gu Qinsha instructed. Now that Cold Jade Du and Long Yuyun had become officials of the Imperial Court, they would gradually build up their influence. He would finally have some assistance in the Imperial Court. The Marquis of Treasures is in charge of the Ministry of Commerce. He is in charge of the circulation of wealth and goods in the world and the issuance of currency. His authority is as great as a mountain. I will definitely manage it well and work for Your Highness, Cold Jade Du said. Chapter 124. Layers of palaces and tens of thousands of gardens form the palace. The strongest place in the world was also the most terrifying place. Although it wasn't as majestic as many celestial paths, it gave birth to the power to twist the heavens. Mountains weren't famous because they had celestials. Rivers weren't deep because they had dragons. The palace wasn't holy because it had god talismans. Within the palace, light silk fluttered in the wind, and hundreds of flowers bloomed in the garden. Spring was overflowing. Maids dressed in silk walked back and forth, complementing the feeling of spring, making the place even more lively. In the garden, there were two beautiful girls playing chess. The fragrance of tea wafted about, and it seemed like even the butterflies in the garden were drunk. Sister Fan, I heard that your son broke through to the sixth transformation and cultivated the Sciention energy. A slightly younger girl said, "What is the use?" The girl who was called Sister Fan sighed. His talent is average, and he obtained so many treasures to reach the sixth transformation. How can he handle such a huge matter? Not to mention the world, he can't even take on the family. Sister Lei, I heard that your son is close to the ancient witch path, but you have to be careful. I can't control my son. The girl called Sister Lei frowned. Let him do as he pleases. The family has a lot to say about him. Last time, he forcefully borrowed the lightning dragon staff, and the chief was already unhappy. He snatched it and broke many of the family's rules. If not for the emperor supporting him, he might have been executed by the family. These two were actually the mothers of the third prince Gu Fan Sha and the 10th prince Gu Jin Sha. They were the imperial concubines of the palace, and their status was only lower than the empress. The two of them looked really young, but they looked like young girls. It was obvious that they had techniques to maintain their youthful looks. Moreover, their bodies were filled with spirituality, and they weren't ordinary people. Thinking back to the past, we were the top people in the family. Fan Fei poured tea in a leisurely manner. The threads of water were extremely thin, like spider silk, yet they gave off an otherworldly feeling. According to our path of life, we should enter a sect, pursue the path of immortality, and live a carefree and unfettered life. I wonder, how does that compare to our current life? There are also internal strife in the immortal Tao sects, and there is no peace. They have to fight against demons and other sections. How can it be days of freedom? Concubine Lei picked up a chess piece and gently placed it down. Compared to now, the 72 sects of the primordial era want to curry favor with us, and even send us gifts. I heard that His Majesty has already ordered Mr. Ghost Axe and Mr. Divine Craftsman to inform the 72 sects that when the capital is moved, they must show their allegiance. Even a nest of 10,000 dragons has sent peacocks to congratulate them. The ancient era's 72 sects will not agree to it, right? Fan Fei seemed to have known about this a long time ago. Ever since the great war of immortals and devils, these people have been high and mighty. Even the ancient heavenly sons of heaven could only ask them to come out of seclusion to assist them. It was extremely difficult to make them submit, not to mention the fact that there hasn't been an emperor in 10,000 years. In these thousands of years, they have been high and mighty, manipulating the country and fiddling with the universe. Even if an outer sect disciple came to the human world, the emperor would have to respectfully receive him and call him immortal master. How could it be like now? Although the ancient heavenly sons' martial arts were high, they all came from the heavenly sacrificial talisman. Lei Fei waved her hand lightly, and a butterfly circled around her fingertip before flapping its wings and flying away. As soon as the heavenly sacrificial talisman left, he lost all his martial arts. Even the emperor's god investiture art that he had painstakingly cultivated for many years was taken away by the talisman. The emperor reverted to an ordinary person and was beaten down to the mortal world. What the heavenly Tao gave you can also be taken back. Therefore, many of the ancient heavenly sons later created their own martial arts to cultivate without relying on the emperor's god investiture art. Therefore, the true immortal Tao Supremes of the ancient era's 72 sects seemed to respect the ancient heavenly sons on the surface, but in reality, they didn't think that he had any ability. Their respect was only for the heavenly Tao. Now that the emperor has not obtained the talisman, he can still sweep through the world and even suppress the gods. They have no choice but to submit, otherwise the emperor wouldn't mind the disappearance of a few sections. The limitless celestial sect disappeared, and these people still don't wake up? The celestial dance mystical gates people are already here, Fan Fei said softly. Fan Fei narrated softly. They sent an outstanding disciple, and I don't think their intentions are that simple. Back then, Ji Qingwu made a bet with the emperor. She said that as long as the emperor could watch her burial of gods dance without losing his mind, he would submit. In the end, the emperor won, but she didn't fulfill her promise. The emperor didn't pursue it, but the details are worth pondering. These are not things that we can control, Lei Fei said softly. This year, the emperor didn't worship the heavens. What do you think, Sister Fan? This is also what I am worried about. Fan Fei's expression changed. Something as big as moving the capital must be worshipped, or else the aristocratic families will have their own ideas. But we don't know what will happen when we worship the heavens. Is it really like the rumors outside? Is the emperor not tolerated by the heavens? I don't know. Lei Fei also had a worried expression on her face. Although the emperor has made great achievements and plans to rule the world, the higher he stands, the heavier the fall will be. If anything happens to the emperor, we will probably die without a burial ground due to our karma. This is also what I am worried about, Fan Fei said. If we sisters work together, we might have a chance to help at the critical moment. Unfortunately, the empress and the other imperial concubines may not do as we think. They all have their own plans. The empress's legalism is colluding with some sections. A bitter smile appeared on Lei Fei's face. The children are also fighting among themselves. No matter how we persuade them, they won't listen. They have their own ideas, but they still can't see the situation clearly. Their current status is built on the foundation of His Majesty's power. If there are any changes, their cultivation and power will instantly collapse. Any disciple of an immortal Tao sect or a slightly stronger fiendish demon will immediately die. I heard that the emperor is very fond of 19 recently. Fan Fei changed the topic. He is building power for him and paving the way. I don't know what his intentions are. It might be for Wenhong. Lei Fei thought for a moment. Don't think that the emperor has ignored 19 all these years. How can he not know that he is training him? 19 has suffered since he was young, but he has developed a tenacious personality. Fan Fei frowned. He is not like our child, who was born wrapped in gold and jade and nourished with panaceas and elixirs. Although his cultivation is improving rapidly, his personality is lacking something. These are all small matters. I just want to see what will happen when the emperor worships the heavens this year. Lei Fei did not know why, but the chess piece broke when she used a little more force. The boorish wilderness, his fief. Gu Qinsha was touring with Shi Zhongchan. He had already returned from the temporary imperial residence at the border. Long Yuyun organized her clansmen to report to the Marquis of Calming Sea and went to Dragon Sword Island to restore her hometown. Yu Hanlu went to the Marquis of Treasure's Ministry of Commerce. Of course, these two people were still his people. Every prince's residence in the imperial court would arrange for their capable subordinates to become officials and then gradually expand their influence in the imperial court. Now, the provincial governors of some provinces were basically the prince's people. For example, the governor of Banan province was the third prince's disciple. Brother, do you think there are any shortcomings in the construction of my fief? Gu Qinsha and Shi Zhongchan stood on a bridge that looked like a rainbow. This bridge was completely made of steel and mud. It extended from the castle and crossed dozens of miles of terrain to reach the surrounding high mountains. It could be said to be a work of art that excelled the heavens. It was extremely spectacular and did not look like it belonged to the mortal world. There were a total of 8 such bridges that led to the high mountains in all directions. There were also cannons on the bridges. There were steel cannons on the cannons to prevent the barbarian slaves from causing trouble in the territory. Your Highness, everything is prepared for this territory, and there are also experts overseeing it. Shi Zhongchan looked around, but the population is too small and cannot suppress 100,000 slaves. Once there is trouble, it is inevitable that we will not be able to deal with it. I am replenishing the population. Gu Qinsha deeply agreed with these words. These days, the population has gradually increased. In about a year and a half, we will be able to completely suppress the barbarians. A year and a half is too long. Shi Zhongchan looked at the sky. I think it is best to stabilize the foundation in the next few months. Maybe in half a year, the capital will be moved. When that time comes, the emperor will have to worship the heavens, but I do not know what will happen. Worship the heavens. Gu Qinsha's heart sank, but he did not want to say more. In that case, I can only do everything possible to strengthen my strength. I've found out that the demonic ape temple of confusion has made a big move recently, and the surrounding barbarian tribes are also ready to make a move. I'm afraid that in the next few months, they will carry out a large-scale attack on your fiefdom. Shi Zhongchan pointed into the distance. Although the mountains in the distance are natural barriers and may be useful to the other barbarians, for the demonic ape temple of confusion is a flat road. They only need to send out a wave of demonic apes to cause a large-scale destruction. Gu Qinsha had seen the power of the demonic apes. They could cover the sky and move through the forest as if they were flying. Even with the horned dragon armor, they might not be a match for them. If the demonic ape temple of confusion wanted to attack, the first wave would definitely be the demonic apes. Then, they would be assassinated by experts. In an instant, the fief would collapse. I've seen the demonic apes. They are indeed powerful. They will even kill other animals and sacrifice them to the demonic ape god of confusion to improve their cultivation. They are much stronger than humans, and their movements are agile. Their combat effectiveness in the forest is even more tyrannical. Gu Qinsha thought for a while and asked, "Do you have any good ideas?" "I will do it for your highness," Shi Zhongchan said. "Originally, my father wanted me to come here to train. Now that your highness has reorganized your troops and joined forces with the subordinates of Dragon Sword Island and the 7th princess of Baoyu Country, there are already 5,000 elite soldiers. However, there are only 1,300 sets of horned dragon armor. This is not enough. If your highness still has money, don't keep it. Buy the armor from the Heavenly Craftsman Department." This is the first reason. The second reason, Gu Qinsha had a lot of wealth, but he did not take it out. He was afraid that a tall tree would attract the wind. Chapter 125. The people of the immortal Tao aren't high and mighty. There are people who only care about profit. As long as you're stronger than them, they'll submit to you. That's nothing. However, there was a hint of disdain on Shi Zhongchan's face. However, the people of the ancient 72 immortal Tao sects still have some pride and arrogance. They are high and mighty, but some of the smaller immortal Tao sects have joined the imperial court in recent years. Father has also recruited quite a few of them. The clans behind the other princes have also relied on the prestige of the imperial court to recruit many of them. Does that mean you have a way to recruit people of the immortal Tao for me, brother? Gu Qinsha's heart stirred, and he took out 2 golden bottles. "I've been busy these past few days and forgot to give you a gift in return. I hope you can bring these 2 7 sage heart pills to you and use them yourself." No, that's too precious. Besides, I already have a violet blood rejuvenation pill. It's the same as having another life. Shi Zhongchan jumped in fright. "Your Highness, do you know how many sets of horned dragon armor a 7 sage heart pill could be exchanged for? Tens of thousands, more than that. Those old fellows of the Celestial Designer Institute all want to hear the ancient 7 sages expound on the Tao. They're willing to pay any price for this pill. The ancient 7 sages were the literature saint, the martial saint, the war saint, the engineering saint, the farming saint, the Dharma saint, and the Brahma saint. These 7 had once worked together to expound on the Tao, enlightening all life. During the expounding, sky fiends, evil gods, and monsters had all been afraid that the 7 gods had enlightened humanity and had attacked. But the combined power of the 7 sages was almost limitless, dispelling all evil. At their core, the Tao had formed this pill. However, some evil gods had stolen many of these pills, and the rest had been divided among the ancient sections. They'd long since been used up. "This pill is perfect for you, Your Highness." Gu Qinsha forced it into Shi Zhongchan's hands. "If you don't use it, it'll be a waste to keep it. Besides, I hope you'll support me in the future. Since brother has said so, I won't refuse." Although Shi Zhongchan's heart was as calm as still water, when faced with this pill, it really wasn't easy for him to let it go. He was well aware of the mysteriousness of this pill. "I won't treat Prince as an outsider. In the future, I will definitely help Prince with strategies, train troops, and manage your lands. I'm not afraid that the court will say that our Sure family is in cahoots with Prince. Actually, this is the Emperor's intention. When the Emperor reviewed my father's memorials, he asked my father to take care of Prince. It seems that the Emperor has the intention to cultivate Prince. I see. In fact, Gu Qinsha had already guessed that Marquis Dashi wanted to befriend him and help him. It must be the Heavenly Talisman Emperor's intention. Otherwise, these marquises wouldn't take special care of certain prince. If it was in the past, the nobles would have to think of a way out for themselves and submit to a certain prince. But now, the Heavenly Talisman Immortal Emperor was almost indestructible. All they had to do was follow the Emperor closely. Even Gu Qinsha couldn't see through Shi Zhongchan's cultivation, and he had never seen him attack. But when he spoke, he was really carefree and looked down on the world. Brother, may I know what earth step your cultivation is at now? Gu Qinsha probed. Me? Shi Zhongchan didn't hide anything. I am at the 7th transformation of the Tao realm, and have yet to form the Samadhi true flame. Elder brother's cultivation is actually so high. Gu Qinsha was a little shocked. This kind of cultivation was extremely powerful, even among the princes. This isn't much. The Shi family has been doted on by the Emperor for many years, and we have obtained many treasures. I have also benefited from his kindness. Shi Zhongchan smiled. Then, who do you think has the strongest cultivation out of all of us? Gu Qinsha wanted to hear his opinion. Of course, it is the 4th Highness. Shi Zhongchan didn't hide anything. Others think that His Highness 4th is sloppy and ordinary, but in reality, His Highness 4th cultivation has long since reached a mysterious and unfathomable realm. He charged into the demon lair alone, came and left with ease amidst the gathering of demons, and is more than 100 times stronger than me. As for the 2nd Highness, the 7th Highness, and the 2nd Highness, they're all similar. Next will be the 3rd Highness, 10th Highness, and 19th Highness. As for the other Highnesses, they aren't much. What about Lu Baiwe? Gu Qinsha asked. Baiwe is really special. Based on cultivation, she is a little weak. Her talent is the highest, but she isn't at the top level. However, the Emperor has high hopes for her and wants to nurture her. The Emperor's eyes aren't wrong. Shi Zhongchan didn't understand. I heard that the legalist school has a true expert called F.A. Wuxian. Have you seen him before? Gu Qinsha asked. This person is really strong. Shi Zhongchan's expression immediately became stern. He is a true genius of the legalist school. He can learn any martial art the moment he learns it and master it the moment he uses it. He doesn't even need to learn anything. He can see the flaws in his opponent's martial art and defeat them with one strike. Some people even say that he is a born saint. Born saint? That's too much. Gu Qinsha couldn't help but laugh. If he is a born saint, then what is father? The Emperor is an existence that surpasses the child of destiny. Shi Zhongchan analyzed. Actually, His Majesty once had the Celestial Designer Institute conduct a very deep study of a person's aptitude. After that, they made a classification. They are divided into the foolish man, the slightly talented, the average talented, the superior talented, the genius, the unparalleled genius, and then the innate saint. There's such a classification. What's the reasoning behind it? Gu Qinsha was a little interested. This is what the Celestial Designer Institute came up with after studying numerous people from ancient times. Shi Zhongchan was really interested. For this, a few old fellows from the Celestial Designer Institute created a wisdom light circle to test one's talent. In the end, the Emperor stopped it. He said that if the commoners were to be judged based on talent, then that would be too unfair. Even normal people have areas that geniuses can't compare to. Gu Qinsha thought about his own clumsy fist and realized that it wasn't like that. A fist that gave hope to all the fools in the world. But he was really interested in such a classification. Who knew what grade he would be? Actually, 7th Highness was secretly measured. He only has high talented and can't even be considered a genius. Shi Zhongchan said, but 7th Highness's cultivation is at the Tao realm 9 transformation glass jade body. Many geniuses can't pass this hurdle, but he did. One can see that geniuses aren't absolute. I'm probably just average. Gu Chen Sha thought about it. Grand Tutor Wenhong is the son of destiny. In the past, when the son of destiny appeared, the gods would retreat and the celestials would bow down to him. But he had no way to fight back against Father. Your Highness, I made a plan for you. First, each of your 5,000 subordinates must have horned dragon armor and fire talisman spears. They must be fully equipped. Shirtai will customize a set of savage battle tactics for them. Shi Zhongchan made up his mind. Apart from that, King also needs to store large amounts of energy-raising pills and energy-purifying pills. Those are the foundations of battle. Of course, the battle technique wine is even better. I will store all of that. Gu Qinshan knew that equipment, weapons, and grain were essential for a soldier. Secondly, it would be best if King can get treasures. Shi Zhongchan said, although this castle is strong and can block many experts, if one is really strong, like someone who has reached Dao Realm 7 transformation and can fly, then most of the traps here would be useless. What treasures? Gu Qinsha asked right away. Top aristocratic families and sects all have really strong killing formations protecting them. Shi Zhongchan said, for example, the legalist faction's judgment formation is formed by 108 flags. Once it is activated, space will reverse, and any strong person who enters will die. Also, the Lightning family's formation is called Lightning Emperor Dragon Slaying Formation. It is formed by 36 lightning swords, and after it is activated, lightning flames will rumble all around. Even a 9 transformation glass body will shatter upon touching it. Such a formation was formed over thousands of years. It will be tough for my land to have one. Gu Qinsha obviously knew how amazing such a formation was. Actually, the Xuanwu out of water feng shui is split into 9 palaces. It itself is a formation, but it lacks treasures. Look at the turtle shell, there are 9 palaces. Now it is empty. Shi Zhongchan pointed at the 9 protruding spots on the castle. They were similar to beacons and were really strong. Standing on them, one could see every corner of the castle. In ancient times, Xuanwu went out to sea and had 9 palaces on its back. Each one had a treasure, and they were split into Ocean Calming Pearl, Mountain Ocean Diagram, Power Hammer, Star Absorbing Tower, Nine-Yang Whip, Mysterious Flame Lamp, Wave Sword, Sunset Bow, and Sun Shooting Arrow. Of course, these were supreme treasures from a long time ago. If one could obtain them, then basically no one would be able to break through this castle. But now, these treasures can be replicated. Although they aren't even 1,000th of the original, they're still really strong. But when Celestial Craftsman Institute built them, they didn't install them for you. These 9 treasures are really valuable. Even if they're replicas, it will cost a lot to remake them. Gu Qinsha thought about it. Celestial Craftsman Institute should feel like they are taking a loss. That's right. Celestial Craftsman Institute doesn't deceive people. In order to remake these 9 treasures, they need to be extremely powerful. Once they are all placed in this castle, they will activate the soul of the Xuanwu. This soul has many transformations and is extremely powerful. It can fly through the air, search for enemies, kill them, and capture them. Shi Zhongchan said, Your Highness, if you still have the 7 Sages Heart Refinement Pill, you can have Celestial Craftsman Institute secretly refine it for you. Only then will this castle truly be stable and indestructible. Furthermore, when cultivating, everyone will be strengthened by the power of the Xuanwu. Breathing in and out will have its own benefits. Senior brother, Gu Qinsha said, Don't tell me you haven't noticed that there's something special about this castle. Chapter 126. What? Black tortoise egg? Is that true? Shi Zhongchan was shocked. The egg of a god beast is something that can only be found by luck. But since it's an ancient fossil, the chances of it hatching are very small because its life force has been cut off and only the thick essence energy is left. However, this treasure suppresses the black tortoise coming out of water layout. It's perfect. There's nothing better than this treasure. If you add in the 9 palaces treasure, I can guarantee that even experts above Tao Realm Transformation 9 would be at a disadvantage. It's that amazing? Gu Chunsha hurriedly said, since that's the case, I will contact Masao Xiangshan immediately. I hope that the Celestial Designer Institute can forge these 9 magic treasures for me. It seems like King has a lot of savings. I can say that even 7th Highness wouldn't be able to exchange for the 9 palaces' magic treasures if he didn't ask for help from the School of Legalism and pay a huge favor. Shi Zhongshan didn't expect Gu Chansha to have such wealth. Even if the 9 magic treasures were fakes, they were still rare treasures. Even celestial sects could only forge one set if they went all out. Gu Chansha didn't have any power supporting him, so how could he have such wealth? However, he didn't ask and just watched quietly. Gu Chunsha immediately used the cycle box to communicate with Masao Xiangshan. A few hours later, Masao Xiangshan appeared in the sky above the castle and slowly landed on the bridge. He looked at Gu Chunsha with joy. What business does King Chun have with the Celestial Designer Institute? Let me repeat, apart from His Majesty's orders, anyone else who wants the Celestial Designer Institute to do something will agree on a price. Of course, I know the rules. Gu Chunsha pointed at his castle. Sect leader Xiangshan, my castle and the black tortoise coming out of water layout seem to lack 9 magic treasures to form the 9 palaces' black tortoise formation to defend against invasion. That's right. Masao Xiangshan nodded. Those 9 magic treasures are the true soul of the layout of the black tortoise rising to the sea. I'm sure the County King is well aware of their value. Even if the Celestial Craftsman Academy wants to refine them, it will cost us a lot. It's not an easy task. The County King's funds can only support the construction of the castle prototype. I know that. Right now, I hope that the Heavenly Craftsmanship Institute can forge 9 magical treasures for me, so that I can truly transform this black tortoise emerging from the sea array into an offensive and defensive grand array. Gu Qinsha knew that although the castle was exquisite in every aspect and could withstand the attack of thousands of soldiers and horses, there would still be great disadvantages when facing a true expert. There's no need to pay for the 9 magic treasures, Masao Kageyama said, because there's simply not enough money to buy them. How about this, if the Duke still has the 9 Sage Heart Refinement pill? How about 1 pill for 1 Dharma treasure? You made a huge profit out of this business. Gu Chunsha smiled. Although the artifact is powerful, it's not as valuable as the 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill. The 7 great saints of the ancient human race spoke of a deluge of heavenly flowers condensing this pill. It's no longer possible to refine it now. How about this? 4 pills for 9 Dharma treasures. In short, 6 pills. That's the limit of what I can negotiate. Masao Kageyama waved his hand. Our Heavenly Craftsmanship Institute likes straightforward people when it comes to business. In that case, I'll add on 5,000 sets of Horned Dragon armor and 5,000 jugs of Battle Technique wine. Gu Chunsha stated his price. We're also very straightforward when it comes to doing business. If it works, then it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. This. Masao Kageyama took out the universe box and asked for instructions from his superior. After a while, he nodded. Fine, but you have to pay in full. Very well. Gu Chunsha took out 6 7 Sage Heart Refinement pills and handed them to Masao Kageyama. Your Highness, where did you get so many of these pills? Masao Kageyama was shocked. Did you rob a god's treasure? Something like that. Gu Chunsha smiled. The chaotic demonic ape temple was indeed a god's treasure. He had yet to take out the real treasure. The most precious item in the chaotic demonic ape temple was the Dragonization Pagoda, followed by the Heavenly Demon Relic. However, Gu Chunsha had yet to figure out how to use it. Your Highness, please wait. The treasure will be here soon. Masao Kageyama took out 6 7 Sage Heart Refinement pills and burned a talisman. Buzz. A beam of golden light swept down from the depths of the sky, and the 6 pills disappeared without a trace. Then, the 9 lights fell into the 9 palace grid in the castle and went into hiding. Then, A golden talisman descended from the sky and fell into Gu Chencha's hand. The whole castle suddenly became a lot more lively. There was something indescribable and indescribable about it. Lord Ghost Axe did it himself. Masao Kageyama's face lit up. Your Highness, the 9 treasures are in place. You can inspect them now. The method to activate the 9 treasures is in the golden talisman in your hand. Your Highness, you can use your blood to refine the talisman. The talisman will be connected to your mind, and you will have ownership of the castle. As for the battle technique wine and the 5,000 sets of horned dragon armor, the Heavenly Craftsman Institute will send them over in 3 days. No problem. Gu Chencha was eager to observe the changes in the castle. Masao Kageyama cupped his hands and left. Gu Chencha quickly returned to his study in the castle and first used his blood to refine the golden talisman. As soon as he dripped his blood on it, the talisman turned into a mirror and floated in the air. 9 treasures appeared in the mirror. Dominating sea pearl, mountain and sea painting, sledgehammer, star-absorbing pagoda, 9-yang whip, dark fire lamp, blue wave sword, sunset bow, shooting sun arrow. Gu Chencha slowly observed the 9 treasures. They were all hidden inside the castle, lying in fixed places and nurturing themselves with the castle's spiritual qi. Your Highness, with this golden talisman, you can activate the 9 treasures. Shi Zhongchan came over. Apart from him, Yiming also noticed something strange and hurried over. The 9 treasures can be activated with your mind. Master, you cannot test the power of this treasure. Yiming said, this treasure is a fake. It cannot absorb spiritual qi automatically. It needs to be nourished slowly with the help of the castle's power. However, it is far from comparable to the 5 divine swords of Lu Yu and the others. Every time these 9 treasures are activated, they will consume a large amount of spiritual qi. According to logic, they can only be used once after absorbing for a year. Otherwise, they will not be able to be activated at all. I know this. Gu Chencha already knew this. He walked to the altar in the middle of the study, where the black tortoise egg was placed. This place is suppressed by a treasure that contains a large amount of spiritual qi. It provides spiritual qi to the 9 treasures. You can also pour the spiritual liquid on the altar, and it will naturally be absorbed by the 9 treasures. Right now, this black tortoise egg can also provide power to the 9 treasures. However, it will consume the black tortoise egg's own life essence. The gains do not make up for the losses. It looks like we still lack spiritual liquid or spiritual crystals. If we have a large number of spiritual crystals, then the 9 treasures can be activated at any time. However, the 9 treasures can resonate with each other and stimulate the life essence in the black tortoise egg. Shi Zhongchan looked at the black tortoise egg carefully. A hint of surprise appeared on his face. I can feel life from this egg. It is not an inanimate object. It seems like it can really hatch. Naturally, I have some tricks up my sleeve. Gu Chencha knew that his sun and moon dragon blood could be considered a true treasure. As his cultivation improved, the blood's density would increase. Then, he could really regrow flesh from the dead. Your Highness should familiarize yourself with these 9 treasures for a few days. I will go train the troops and gather experts, Shi Zhongchan said. I will definitely recruit people from the mystical sects for your Highness. Thank you, brother. Gu Chencha cupped his hands. Immediately, he familiarized himself with the golden talisman and the 9 treasures in the 9 palaces of the castle on the altar in the bedroom of his study. He breathed on the golden talisman, and the talisman turned into a golden mirror. The mirror showed the situation in every corner of the castle. There were altars in the 9 towers, and 9 treasures were placed on each of the altars. The 9 altars communicated with the altar in the central study. Now, the black tortoise egg's power was transmitted from the central altar to nourish the 9 treasures. After being nourished, the 9 treasures seemed to have gained some intelligence. Gu Chencha's mind communicated with the 9 treasures through the golden talisman. He tried to activate them, but found that he couldn't. He just knew that the treasures didn't absorb enough spiritual energy and didn't have the power to attack. According to his precise calculations, these treasures could be activated once every 2 months. Originally, it would take a year, but the suppression of the black tortoise egg gave the castle spirituality. The 9 treasures also received several times the nourishment. But this still wasn't enough. Immediately, Gu Chunsha forced out his blood to refine the black tortoise egg. Ever since he comprehended the clumsy punch, his cultivation had increased again. His understanding of sun-moon refinement, sun-moon transformation, sun-moon slaughter, and sun-moon dragon had deepened. With the help of the sun and moon altar, his blood, tendons, and bones became purer, and the density of the sun and moon dragon blood increased. His blood seeped out of his fingertips. After drawing the talisman on his fingertips, the talisman emitted the light of the sun and moon for a long time. After drawing the talisman on the black tortoise egg, he circulated his blood and chi and sprayed it on so that the egg could absorb it faster. This sun-moon refinement consumed a lot of blood and chi. Just this short period of time made him feel weak. Fortunately, he had heavenly dew. He took it out and swallowed dozens of drops, recovering his spirit and blood essence. Now, he didn't need to drip the heavenly dew on the magic treasures. He felt that it was the stupidest and most wasteful thing to do. The best way was to swallow it himself and convert it into sun and moon dragon blood. Then he could use it to refine the magic treasures. Only then would the magic treasures evolve very quickly. With the support of heavenly dew, when he used the sun and moon dragon blood to refine the black tortoise egg, not only would he not consume his blood essence, but his cultivation would also be purified. This was spitting out the old and absorbing the new. Chapter 127. The light of the sun and moon, the light of all laws, Xiantian Dao, Yin, and Yang grow. Gu Qinsha started to cultivate once more. Every day, he practiced martial arts, refined the 3 treasures, consumed large amounts of dew, and read large amounts of books to deduce the clumsy fist. Just like that, a month passed. The sun hung high in the sky, and the weather started to heat up. Spring had come to an end, and summer was about to arrive. King. On this day, he was woken up by someone. It was 3 incense sticks who called out to him. Pili Pala. He stood up and stretched out his muscles and bones. The air around him exploded and thunder roared. The energy current spun, and it was really shocking. My cultivation has improved. Gu Qinsha was very satisfied. Although this month of secluded meditation didn't allow him to break through to the 3rd transformation of the Tao realm with copper skin and iron bones, his knowledge of martial arts theories had improved. The spiritual energy in his body slowly seeped into the depths of his diaphragm. Breaking through to the 3rd transformation was just a matter of time. Apart from that, the demon descending blade and great dragon armor had many changes. Although they didn't transform, they were 40 to 50% stronger than before. Of course, the biggest change was still the Xuanwu egg. The stone layer on the egg fell off and started to soften. A jade-like quality appeared, and the egg actually started to grow. Compared to before, it was around a 1/3 bigger. One could see that in the depths of the egg, there was a tortoise-like Xuanwu baby with dragons and snakes wrapped around it. The aura that the Xuanwu baby gave off shocked all around and spread out. Even the walls of the giant castle started to crystallize. If this went on, the entire castle would have a jade-like feeling. This was the Xuanwu god power. Xuanwu was a god beast and was one of the 4 beasts. During these few days, Gu Chansha hatched the Xuanwu egg and used it to sense the Xuanwu ocean formation. He had a deep understanding of the 9 treasures. The 9 treasures absorbed the Xuanwu baby's aura and affected the feng shui of the entire castle. It caused the feng shui flow to speed up and the spirit gathering ability to increase by at least 9 times. That way, the Xuanwu egg would be able to obtain more spiritual energy. They complemented one another, and the castle came to life. Enter. Gu Qinsha gathered his thoughts and let San Xiang enter the study. What's the matter? Your Highness, the weather is getting warmer. The entire fief is filled with mosquitoes, scorpions, and centipedes. The barbarian slaves are starting to die, and the number of businesses has decreased greatly. Right now, everyone is having a meeting to discuss, so I came to ask for your highness' opinion. Mei Xiang said, "Come, bring me down." Gu Chansha suddenly remembered that the environment in the wildlands was extremely harsh. As soon as the weather got a little warmer, all kinds of mosquitoes would fly around. The ground was also filled with centipedes, scorpions, and many other unknown poisonous insects. However, he had been cultivating in the castle for the past few days and had forgotten about it. With that, he walked down and headed for the council hall in the castle. Along the way, he found that the ground was dry and clean. There were no insects or mosquitoes flying in the sky. He couldn't help but be puzzled. There are no snakes, insects, rats, or ants in the castle. I don't know why, but not a single poisonous insect dares to come within 100 feet of the castle, San Xiang said. So that's how it is. No wonder I feel so safe. It must be the aura of the black tortoise. Why would any poisonous insect dare to come near? Gu Qinsha already knew what was going on. He quickly stepped into the hall and saw Shi Zhongchan, Shi Tai, Yiming, and his adopted son. There was also a 13 or 14-year-old boy and two 16 or 17-year-old girls. This man and two women were none other than Long Yuyun's younger siblings. The boy was called Long Zaifei, and the two girls were called Long Yuxia and Long Yuhong. When they saw Gu Qinsha walk in, they hurriedly knelt down. "Greetings, benefactor." "Get up," Gu Qinsha said. "From now on, you and I are a family. There's no need to be so distant." He looked at Long Zaifei, who was brimming with vitality and emitted a vast, ocean-like aura. He had actually cultivated to the first transformation of the Tao realm and was now fasting. Gu Qinsha turned pale with fright. "Long Zaifei, you've cultivated to the Tao realm? Benefactor, my master taught me many things, and I did break through recently. Master said that I activated the ocean god and dragon god bloodlines." Long Zaifei stood up respectfully. He already knew that it was the prince in front of him who had rescued him from the devil's clutches. The entire Dragondward Island had submitted to Monarch Shun, and he had also taken Yiming as his master. "Master, Long Zaifei is indeed a top talent," Yiming said. "I fed him some dew and used Sciention Earth energy to open up his meridians. I taught him fist techniques, and he was actually able to activate the god bloodline in his body. In just a month, he successfully broke through to the Tao realm." "Very good." Gu Qinsha recalled what he had said to Shi Zhongchan a month ago. A person's aptitude was divided into the foolish man, the moderately talented, the average talent, the superior talent, the genius, the unparalleled talent, the innate saint, and the son of destiny. Long Zaifei was actually a top talent, which was really rare. Thinking about himself, he cultivated tirelessly and comprehended many truths. He obtained the dragon transformation liquid from the chaotic world demon ape god temple before comprehending the Tao realm. Long Zaifei had no obstacles at all and broke through layer by layer. This was the difference in talent. As for the other two girls, Long Yuxia and Long Yuhong, they were a bit weaker, but they were also grandmasters with extremely strong cultivations. "Master, there are many snakes, insects, and rats in the fief. There aren't any in the castle, but they are everywhere in the market outside. We bought large amounts of medicine and killed batch after batch, but more came out of the forest. Especially at night, when the mosquitoes see the lights, they cover the sky." The little foster son said, "We have to think of a way. Come, let's go take a look." Gu Qinsha exited the castle. As expected, there were many strange insects crawling about on the ground a few dozen zhang away from the castle. Not to mention the bushes, there were many colorful venomous snakes, spiders, martial arts, and countless scorpions. In the market not far away, some caravans had retreated. This was because many people slept at night, and their beds might be filled with snakes and insects. There were many soldiers in horned dragon armor who scatter medicine, but there were too many venomous insects, and they couldn't get rid of them all. This was how it was during the summer in the wilderness, and only the barbarian race could live here. This was because the barbarian race believed in the evil god and would hold a huge ceremony each summer. They would kill numerous beasts to worship the evil god, and the entire tribe would be covered by the evil god's power. Snakes, insects, and rats wouldn't dare to invade them. Brother, what do you think? Gu Chansha covered his body with a great dragon armor. The others also wore horned dragon armor to prevent the venomous insects from touching them. Some of the venomous insects were really small and couldn't be seen with the naked eye. They drilled into one's flesh to suck blood and spread poison, causing many people to die silently. Even grandmasters were no exception. There were some strong venomous insects that even Tao Realm Transformation 3 experts couldn't block as they would enter their organs. Only Tao Realm Transformation 4 experts would be able to survive in the forest. Wild forest is endless and humid. Once it is summer, mosquitoes will cover the land, and it is tough to survive. This is also why no one has settled here since ancient times. Shi Zhongchan said, there are ways to solve this problem. The first is to chop down the surrounding trees, everything within a few hundred miles, and burn it to the ground. But there are thousands of miles from the border to here. Although the road has been repaired, when summer comes, the forests on both sides won't be able to be leveled. Merchants won't be able to reach here, and that will be problematic. What else? Gu Qinsha frowned. Also, there are demon techniques. Shi Zhongchan pointed to the surroundings. He dug a large pond in the forest and used a medicinal spell formation to gather it. The poisonous insects would continuously gather in the pond, and under the use of incantations and demonic arts, they would devour each other. After a long time, they would become extremely powerful poisonous insects, the king of all insects. Wherever they went, the insects would retreat. Moreover, the bug king is really strong and can transform. I don't know this technique. Gu Qinsha said, moreover, it won't be something that can be cultivated in a day. That's true. It will take at least 60 years to cultivate this technique, Shi Zhongchan said. However, I recently recruited a sect in the wild forest called the Gu Poison Sect. They have been refining insects in the wild forest for generations. If your highness allows it, I will... The Gu Poison Sect? Is that an evil sect? Gu Qinsha frowned. Even the laws of the imperial court forbid them. Although the Gu Poison Sect is an evil sect, this branch has never harmed anyone. Although the Gu Poison Sect is an unorthodox sect, this branch has never harmed or harmed people. Instead, they use their Gu arts to treat illnesses and save people. However, they're still considered to be an unorthodox sect. A few days ago, their disciple went to the borders to open a medical clinic, but he was thought to be an unorthodox sect by a few immortal Tao disciples. They chased after him all the way. I couldn't bear to see that happen, so I saved him. Now, they have nowhere else to go. The immortal Tao disciples are chasing after them everywhere. If your highness can protect them, they will definitely do something, said Shi Zhongchan. Really? Gu Qinsha didn't believe it. Since ancient times, the art of venomous insects had been very evil. Even if the imperial court encountered them, they would kill them regardless of whether they had done evil or not. Now, that Shi Zhongchan wanted him to recruit people from the Gu Poison Sect. He felt a little nervous. Can't your highness see through good and evil? Even if it's a venomous technique, if used well, it could be a good doctor in medicine. In the Celestial Designer Institute, the Emperor even opened a special poison institute to research all kinds of poisons and to cure people. Shi Zhongchan smiled. If they really haven't harmed anyone, then there's no harm in punishing evil and promoting good, Gu Qinsha said. May I ask where the people from this sect are? Chapter 128. The man was simple and honest. He dressed like an honest farmer and had an honest demeanor. He didn't have the cunning or evil aura of the demonic path. The woman was a little enchanting, but that was all. She was very different from the demonic path people Gu Qinsha had seen before: Blackbat, Yin Yang Xiushi, Blood Soul Cult Master, and Hunter Poison Taoist. When the two walked in, their eyes were filled with shock. They looked around as if they were afraid of something. Greetings, your highness. After the man and woman entered, they cupped their hands in greeting but didn't kneel. They seemed to have some backbone. No need to be so polite. Gu Qinsha said, "Please take a seat and have some tea." Immediately, a maid came to serve tea. The man and woman didn't drink, but when they smelled a cold scent, they tasted it. They were shocked. Drunken cloud, winter plum? The water used is cold jade spring with spiritual liquid added. Agarwood was used as charcoal to roast it. It's a superior-inferior Tao. Drinking it all year round can purify one's qi and blood. As expected, they have a deep understanding of pharmacology. Gu Qinsha nodded. May I ask for their names? I'm Wang Ji of the Gu Poison sect, and this is my junior sister, Lan Qi, the man who looked like an honest farmer said. Do you have a senior brother and sister and a master? Gu Qinsha asked. Yes, but we went our separate ways because of different ideals. Master passed down a total of 5 branches, with the 5 poisons as the form. My branch is based on the heavenly centipede, but I feel that the art of Gu poison shouldn't be used to harm people. Instead, it should be used to cure people. We never do anything illegal. Instead, we walk the pugilistic world and accumulate virtue. Wang Ji cupped his hands and said, If I have harmed people or done anything illegal, I will be forsaken by the heavens and killed by both humans and gods. My senior brother and I have traveled the world and accumulated countless merits. We have saved countless lives, but I don't know why the people of the immortal Tao want to kill us indiscriminately when they see us. Could it be that the evil path and the demonic path only look at cultivation techniques and not people's hearts? Lan Qi's face was filled with grief and indignation. Most people in the world are like this. Actually, when I first heard about the Gu Poison sect, I also felt that it was an unorthodox path and that it was too dangerous. However, if it could really cure illnesses and save people, then it would be very valuable. Gu Qinsha waved his hand. Right now, my fief is suffering from an insect plague. I wonder if the 2 of you can lend me a hand? If you can get rid of these pests, I can hire the 2 of you as foreign officials. I can also open a medical center for the 2 of you, report it to the imperial court, and get the 2 of you an official position. How about it? An official position? You can even open a clinic? Cure a patient? Wang Ji stood up in surprise. Junior sister and I once swore that we would use the art of venomous poison to save the people in the world, to get rid of the evil aura, and to restore the world to its clarity. Apart from that, we must let the world understand that the art of venomous poison can save people more than the art of immortality. The fact that I can promise you means that I have some confidence. As long as you demonstrate your abilities, I will immediately submit a memorial to my father. Gu Qinsha nodded. You might even be allowed to accept disciples, establish your own sect, and carry it forward. Plop. Wang Ji and Lan Rong left their seats and knelt down. His Majesty is benevolent, and we can see that the empire is prosperous and the people are at peace. This is the most prosperous era in history. If you allow us to establish our own sect, we are willing to kowtow to His Majesty. As they spoke, the 2 of them had tears in their eyes. Quickly, please rise. Gu Qinsha hurriedly helped them up. I can see the sincerity of the 2 of you. As long as it is beneficial to the country, I will do my best to do it. Your Highness, is there a primordial divine beast guarding this place? The vital venomous poison that we cultivate is actually suppressed to the point that we can't use any of our abilities. Wang Ji asked. There is indeed. Gu Qinsha sighed. But that divine beast has yet to hatch, so it can't spread its divine energy throughout the fief. Don't worry, Wang Ji said. The more insects there are, the more beneficial it will be for our cultivation, Wang Ji said. There's no time to lose. We'll help your Highness deal with the insects right away. However, we still need your Highness to allocate some manpower to help us. We need to dig a myriad venomous pond in the surrounding valleys, mix it with medicinal ingredients, and burn it. That way, we'll be able to attract a steady stream of poisonous insects. That won't be a problem, Gu Qinsha said. Yiming, you do it. Yes. Yiming stood up. Let's go take a look. Gu Qinsha waved his hand. The group walked out of the castle. At this time, Wang Ji took out a bottle gourd and poured out a golden centipede. It was only as thick as a thumb, but it had many wings. He took out a medicinal pill and fed it. Suddenly, the centipede began to grow. In a few dozen breaths' time, it was as thick as a human leg and several zhang long. Then it flew into the air. Wang Ji took a step forward and flew into the air. The great dragon armor on Gu Qinsha squirmed as he flew into the air. At the same time, Shi Zhongchan and Yiming flew up too. Wang Ji and Lan Qi looked at him and felt that Gu Qinsha was really extraordinary. Their cultivation wasn't at Dao Realm Transformation 7, but with the vital Gu, they could fly. Naturally, they knew about the armor on Gu Qinsha, and they could tell that it was a top treasure. When he wore the armor, the poison wouldn't be able to invade him. They flew out of the surrounding mountains. Wang Ji pointed to a few valleys and said, "Your Highness, build a huge Gu pond in these valleys. Junior Marshal's sister and I will cast spells, and the poisonous insects within a radius of hundreds of miles will gather here. In the past, we hid everywhere and didn't dare to build such a large pond. No one dares to cause trouble in my land." Gu Qinshan nodded his head. "Yiming, use your spells to dig a pond." Yes. Yiming's current cultivation base was at the 9th Dao Realm Transformation, and he had a glass jade body. He had consumed heavenly dew for a long time, and his meridians had expanded. He had also cultivated the sun-moon refinement and sun-moon transformations techniques. As a result, his true energy far surpassed that of ordinary experts. He waved his hands, and his Xiantian Qi turned into a giant hand that dug towards the valley. Instantly, large amounts of dirt and stone were dug up. The tough mountain rocks all shattered like tofu. An hour later, the giant pond was dug. It was 100 feet deep, and the bottom was flat. If barbarian race slaves did this, it would take at least a month. So amazing. Wang Ji and Lan Qi looked at each other, but did not say anything. They both urged their natal Gu centipede to fly to the bottom of the pool, sprinkling various medicinal powders and burning some strange spices. Then they built an altar in the pool with a flag on it. The flag was pitch black, and on it was a really lifelike centipede. The centipede danced in the wind and gave off a black energy that spread all around. "Pay attention." The two of them flew up. "King, let's hide. The poisonous bugs are coming." "It is okay. Let me take a look." Yiming waved his hands and sent out thick true qi that wrapped everyone up into a giant ball. Sure enough, an hour later, the mountain forest was filled with buzzing noises. Many unknown poisonous insects were flying in the sky, almost covering the entire sky. The poisonous bug army in the forest was really terrifying. Who knew if there were hundreds of thousands, millions, or even tens of millions? They formed a flood. No, it should be called a flow of bugs. All the poisonous bugs landed in the hole and started to kill one another. In an instant, bug corpses were all over the ground. On the altar in the pond, the black flag spread out. Wherever it went, the bug corpses were swept up, and their essence blood was absorbed. The black energy became thicker and thicker. How amazing. Gu Qinsha nodded and said, "This method of making the poisonous insects kill each other is hard to come by. That flag is also a treasure. It absorbs the essence blood of the insects to strengthen itself. It is even more powerful. If this continues, the treasure will become stronger and stronger. The flag will constantly absorb the essence energy of the poisonous bugs and turn it into a 5 poisons nascent divinity. When the time comes, it will be even more amazing." Wang Ji's face lit up with delight. "Before, we didn't dare to absorb it so openly. First of all, digging such a huge pond requires a lot of manpower, and we don't have many disciples. Second, if we absorb it like this, experts will definitely notice and come to slay the devils. Then we'll be killed. Even if we manage to escape, the flag will be destroyed, and decades of hard work will go down the drain." "Don't worry," Gu Qinsha said. "Outside of my fiefdom, no one will dare to slay devils and demons. This is the imperial court, and the immortal Dao sects have to abide by its laws." "Thank you, Your Highness," Wang Ji said happily. "Next, I'll list out all sorts of herbs. Your Highness, you just need to send people to buy them, and then dig several ponds in the surroundings. We'll use them one by one, and in a month, all the bugs will be gone. Furthermore, our cultivation in a month will be equivalent to decades of hard work. When the time comes, we can also dig ponds like this on both sides of the road, leading into the pass to eliminate the bugs and ensure the smooth flow of the trade route. That's good. Guqinsha nodded. You'll need a lot of herbs to attract the bugs. I can see that, so I'll take care of it. Just focus on your cultivation and expelling the bugs. No problem. As long as it's a bug disease or a plague, we can get rid of it, Wang Ji said. How dare you, fiend? You dare to cultivate heretical arts here? You're courting death. At that moment, a thunderous rumble came from afar, echoing through the mountains and causing everyone's ears to ring. The dense swarm of poisonous bugs in the sky was shaken by the roar and fell like rain. Guqinsha hurriedly looked over. He saw a figure flying over at lightning speed. Innate stellar chi surrounded his body, tearing through the air and bringing with it a thunderous explosion. His might was simply overwhelming. Swoosh! That person was still 5 kilometers away, and he pointed with his finger. A sharp and eerie sword light coiled around Wang Ji and Lan Qi like a silver snake, wanting to use the flying sword to slay them and slay devils and demons. Isn't this a slap to my face? Guqinsha had just said that no one would come to slay devils and demons in his fiefdom, and they came immediately. He couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. Yiming, yes. Chapter 129. Guqinsha met the sword light head-on. The demon-conquering blade in his hand didn't change at all. It was clumsy and childish, like a toddler learning to walk. This was his clumsy fist. It was clumsier than the last time, but it was more powerful. Moreover, he didn't use his own strength in this strike, but the great dragon armor and demon-conquering blade. After a month of secluded cultivation, the great dragon armor and demon-conquering blade had been refined with his blood. Their power had increased by several folds, and his clumsy fist had gained many insights and transformations. This was a simple and clumsy attack. The ever-changing sword light was restrained by this attack, and its brilliance converged, turning into a small sword that was 7 inches long. It was stuck to the demon-subduing blade, and then it disappeared. Guqinsha had sent the sword into the depths of the sun-moon altar with this strike. Originally, the power of this sword was extremely great. However, Guqinsha's clumsy fist happened to be the breaking point of the sword transformation. At that moment, the sword lost control and was sent into the space of the sacrificial altar by Guqinsha. This attack was extremely mysterious. Even Yiming could only see it clearly. Guqinsha's clumsy attack had caused the sword light, which had shocked the sky, to vanish into thin air without a trace. How dare you? The attacker hadn't expected the flying sword he'd trained so hard for so many years to vanish in an instant. He didn't even have a telepathic connection with it. Shocked and furious, he pounced over. Only then did Guqinsha see that the attacker was a middle-aged man with a sage-like demeanor. His eyes were sharp, and his stellar energy formed a vortex around him. The friction caused explosions and gales. How dare you? Yiming also used his Xiantian stellar energy to form an air wall. Who are you? How dare you assassinate the great Yanko Court's lord? Aren't you afraid of having your entire family annihilated? What? You're the great Yanko Court's lord? The middle-aged man stopped, his expression uncertain. He glanced at the castle in the distance, then slowly retracted his Xiantian stellar energy and formed a pair of stellar energy wings on his back to prevent himself from falling. Transforming Xiantian stellar energy into wings was the most energy-efficient way to fly. I'm Duke Chun. Which sect are you from? How dare you commit murder on my fief? Guqinsha shouted. Since you're the great Yanko-S prince, why are you sheltering evil devils and allowing them to cultivate their evil arts here? Everyone has the right to punish those who walk the evil path. You knowingly broke the law, but how should you be punished? The middle-aged man pointed at Wang Ji and Lan Ru. I've hunted these two fiends for a long time and killed several of their disciples. Now they're relying on you, Your Highness. Do they really think they've found a backer? Eighth sword nunnery what atrocities have we committed? Wang Ji said indignantly. Not only did you kill a few of my disciples, but you also want to kill us all. Isn't cultivating the demonic art a crime against heaven and reason? The middle-aged man, Jian Ban, shouted, You are a heretic, yet you still dare to quibble. Master, this person should be from the mystical 10,000 Swords sect. Every disciple of the mystical 10,000 Swords sect has the surname Jian. Their founder isn't human, but an ancient immortal sword that cultivated a human form. Looks like they're also one of the ancient 72 sections. No wonder they're so domineering. Gu Qinsha nodded. Eighth sword nunnery, whether they're guilty or not, is for the imperial court to decide, not your sex nonsense. If they've harmed someone, you can produce evidence and the court will deal with them. If you kill innocents in the name of exterminating evil, what difference is there between you and a fiend? Also, my fief is currently being ravaged by poisonous insects. Many people have been bitten by them, so what's wrong with hiring them to get rid of them? They're saving lives. A load of nonsense. Eighth sword nunnery sneered. But for the sake of the imperial court, I'll let it go for now. How did Duke Qin take my sword? Please give back to me. Eighth sword nunnery. You have to remember that this world belongs to the imperial court. Apart from the imperial court, no one can convict you. Besides, Wang Ji and Lan Qi have never harmed anyone. They don't even have a heart, so don't act in the name of exterminating evil. Otherwise, even the law will be set for you. Gu Qinsha's great dragon armor squirmed as he took out the 7-inch sword he'd just collected. The 8th sword monk waved his hand, and the sword flew into his hand. However, he did not listen to Gu Qinsha's words. Instead, he continued to sneer and said, The imperial court? How arrogant! We immortal cultivators never care about what the ordinary people in the imperial court say. I will remember today's incident. In the future, the mystical gate of myriad swords will definitely get revenge. Even as the words left his mouth, he retreated even faster than a bird. Master, this person is too arrogant. I think his cultivation is at the 7th transformation of the Tao realm. It's just that his swordsmanship is more mysterious. Yiming said, I've already peeked at the changes in his swordsmanship. As long as we catch up, we can kill him in 10 moves. No need. Gu Qinsha waved his hand. The imperial court has the magnanimity of the imperial court. They can kill innocent people, but we can't. The reason why I returned the flying sword to him is that I hope he can comprehend it. If he can't, then there's nothing we can do. If there's a second time, we'll capture him and hand him over to the imperial court. Let's go back. Everyone returned to the market outside the castle. As expected, there were fewer poisonous insects in the market. They all crawled into the huge pit in the valley in the distance. Yiming, I'll let you refine this magic-breaking celestial sword. Grand Preceptor Wenhong said that he removed the imprint in it. Gu Qinsha took out the magic-breaking celestial sword. Although this celestial sword far surpasses my demon-subduing blade, I made it myself. It's easy to use since I've connected it with my heart. Yiming took the magic-breaking celestial sword and dripped a drop of blood on it. At the same time, he infused Khanate Qi into it. The sword immediately shook its head and tail, communicating with his aura. It immediately nodded. Grand Preceptor Wenhong indeed removed the imprint in it. People like him won't lie. After all, he was once the son of heaven. Gu Qinsha knew that such a person had a majestic bearing that looked down on the world. Masters martial arts have made a breakthrough. That strike just now directly broke through the mystical gate of 10,000 swords. Even I couldn't use that strike. Yiming was very surprised. This is a clumsy fist that I comprehended myself. It's not very profound, Gu Qinsha said. It's just a martial art that suits me the best. I'll write a memorial to my father now. I hope to get Wang Ji and Lan Rong an official position. With a title, they won't be hunted down by the immortal Tao sections. Sure, Zhongchan nodded. Then we'll have to rely on your highness. My father originally wanted to protect these two, but he was afraid of being attacked by the people of the court. Now that your highness is in favor, there's no harm in it. As long as it's the right thing to do, I don't care what others say. After everyone left, Gu Chansha began to write the memorial. As expected, 3 days later, the memorial was approved. On it was the heavenly talisman Thearka's personal handwriting. Very good. Regardless of whether the cultivation method is good or evil, only the behavior. Wang Ji and Lan Rong have the heart to help the people by relieving their suffering and curing the primal insect plague. This is a meritorious service to the country. I hereby order you to open a medical center and reward you with a 7th rank official rank. You can teach them the art of gu poison. Father is indeed open-minded. After receiving the approval on the memorial, Gu Chansha was overjoyed. He immediately ordered Shi Zhongchan and the others to make arrangements. Shi Zhongchan was indeed capable. In the next 2 months, he led Wang Ji and Lan Rong to dig gu ponds on both sides of the road for thousands of li to attract the poisonous insects. At the same time, he opened a medical center and treated many people who were injured by the poisonous insects. Immediately, the trade in the fief increased greatly. The medical center was also full of business. However, they were very cautious in accepting disciples. For the time being, Gu Chansha told the two to only accept reliable people in his residence. The art of gu poison was very terrifying. If someone with evil intentions learned it, it could often cause the entire city to die in a single night. Even Gu Chansha had to be very careful. Seeing that business was booming, he secretly rewarded the two with heavenly dew, which increased their cultivation by a lot. Of course, during these 2 months, Gu Chansha continued to cultivate and comprehend the changes. He consumed half a barrel of heavenly dew and increased the density of his sun-moon dragon blood. As for the black tortoise egg, it grew to the height of a human. The great dragon armor no longer had scales. Instead, it was replaced by runes. The runes formed the armor itself, as if it would transform into the king's dragon armor at any moment. The demon's subduing blade was the same, turning into runes. Gu Chansha dripped his own blood to observe. He discovered that there were also tiny runes flickering in his blood. He knew that his strength had improved again, but he didn't dare to relax. The words of the Grand Preceptor Wenhong and the others were deeply engraved in his mind. If the heavenly talisman Great Emperor really disappeared, even if it was only for a year or so, the world would undergo unpredictable changes. With his current cultivation, he was no different from an ant in this situation. Your Highness, on this day, after he finished cultivating, Shi Zhongchan requested to see him. Come in. Gu Chansha hurriedly invited him in. After both parties sat down, Shi Zhongchan said, Your Highness, the training of the troops has been completed. 3 medical centers have been opened, and business is very good. In addition, the insect repellent we produced is also selling very well. Just based on this alone, the income from the fief is several 100,000 yuan every month. So much. Gu Chansha was shocked. Isn't that enough to cover our expenses? And we can even expand? This is still not considered a lot. Right now, the Insect King and Blue Caterpillar don't dare to expand wantonly. They also don't have enough manpower, so they don't dare to spread their venomous arts carelessly. Otherwise, it wouldn't be strange for them to earn several million yuan every month. Think about it. The greatest scourge of the wilderness is the venomous insects. They are everywhere and much more powerful than ferocious beasts. This is also why the imperial court developed the horned dragon armor. Right now, the imperial court is developing the wilderness, and countless people are pouring in. All of them are troubled by the venomous insects. If we can seize this market, we'll probably become very rich. Shi Zhongchan's tone was somewhat excited. Of course, this is also because His Highness is deeply trusted by His Majesty. He actually gave the 2 of them official positions. Otherwise, the other princes wouldn't dare to openly recruit them. Come, let's go take a look at the shops. Chapter 130. I see. Gu Chansha knew that power was split into 3 types. The power of flesh and blood, the power of astral energy, and the power of the primordial spirit, which was the power of the mind and soul. The first 5 transformations of Tao Realm were brute force of flesh and blood. From the 6th to the 9th transformations, it was the power of astral energy. When one reached the 10th transformations, they would start to nurture the power of the primordial spirit. Many celestial Tao sects have some sky demon relics, but they can't be used. Of course, if one cultivates to an extremely high realm, they can slowly activate the essence energy in the relic. They can't absorb it themselves, but they can embed it on Dharma treasures, causing the power of the Dharma treasures to increase greatly. They can transform like ancient sky demons. Shi Zhongchan continued, if you encounter a Dharma treasure with a sky demon relic embedded in it, you have to run as far as you can. As the two of them spoke, they left the castle and walked into the market. The weather was hot and the sun was shining brightly. However, the air was very humid. It was as if water could be squeezed out with a slight twist. It was very uncomfortable. In the past, people couldn't live in the wilderness at all because there were poisonous insects everywhere. Although it was still humid and unbearable now, the poisonous insects in the city had completely disappeared. There wasn't even an ant to be seen. The market in the fief had also recovered its prosperity and was still expanding. Many houses were built, and there was an endless stream of people on the road. As fast horses galloped, there was an endless flow of goods. A huge medical center was built, and many people went to see doctors. The smell of medicine wafted into their nostrils. Many insect corpses were dried in the square, and then many apprentices turned them into powder and made them into pills. When they got close to the medical center, the air suddenly became dry. It was as if there was a force that kept absorbing the moisture. This was a feng shui formation called turtle absorbing water. The feng shui airflow would circulate with this formation and expel the moisture from the tail. Gu Chansha and Shi Zhongchan walked into the medical center and saw some apprentices treating patients. In the innermost hall, Wang Ji and Lan Qi were treating a few officials and nobles. You've been invaded by a tiny worm called the heart and lung worm. That's why you're getting thinner and thinner. It's useless to cultivate any martial arts. Even if you inject innate Gang Qi into your body, it'll be difficult to expel it. Wang Ji carefully observed the noble who was as thin as a stick of firewood. But it doesn't matter. I'll use the blood goo to drill into your body. In an instant, the heart-lung worm will be eliminated. As he spoke, he waved his hand, causing a blood-colored light to fly out. Countless blood-colored bugs burrowed into the man's skin. A look of pain appeared on the man's face, but then he coughed up a mouthful of blood. Within the blood were countless bugs wriggling about, and his face was filled with color. He seemed to be in a better state of mind. All right, does your heart and lungs not hurt anymore? Wonka asked. It's indeed much better. The nobleman was overjoyed. All these years, I don't know how many medicines I've taken and how many doctors I've consulted, but none of them worked. Who would have thought that you would be able to bring me back to life? Actually, 99% of the illnesses in the world are caused by bugs. Some bugs are tens of thousands of times smaller than a grain of rice. In the medical section of the Heavenly Talisman Tome, there are records that the Heavenly Talisman Emperor called them germs, and we call them dust goo. The illnesses caused by these bugs can't even be treated with Xiantian Gang Qi. Only the power of gods can remove them. Lan Qi flipped through a book. It was the latest medical section of the Heavenly Talisman Tome. This book is truly miraculous. The Emperor's wisdom is unparalleled, and he actually has a new perspective on the art of bugs. The contents are truly thought-provoking. After reading this book these few days, my understanding of the art of bugs has improved greatly. As they spoke, they saw Gu Chansha walking in. They hurriedly stood up and knelt on one knee. Greetings, Prince. Rise. Gu Chansha raised his hand. Yin Chui, you're here to see the doctor as well? Shi Zhongchan spoke to the patient who coughed out blood. This time, this illness has been completely cured. In the future, it won't recur again. Back then, you were the disciple of the Yin clan with the highest chance of stepping into the Tao realm. Sadly, you contracted this illness, causing your martial arts to deteriorate instead. Brother Shi, don't tease me. I came to the desolate mountain range to do business, and I accidentally contracted this illness. Yin Chu, you seem to be very familiar with Shi Zhongchan. Prince, this is someone from the Yin clan. The Yin clan operates many businesses, and they are most famous for their medicinal herbs. There are many medicinal herbs in the desolate mountain range, but the Yin clan has to purchase them in bulk. Shi Zhongchan explained. Gu Qinsha nodded. He knew that although the Yin clan was an ancient aristocrat clan with a few hundred years of history and was proficient in medicine, they were actually helpless against this illness. On the other hand, Wang Ji was able to cure it. From this, one could see how powerful the Gu poison sect was. It was no wonder they were one of the most terrifying sects in the evil path. Prince, we will take our leave first. Yin Chu knew that Gu Qinsha had something to say. Hence, he retreated with the other patients. If the Yin clan works with me, I will definitely give you a discount. Gu Qinsha nodded. He looked on as the few of them kowtowed and left. He then looked at Wang Ji and Lan Qi. How is your cultivation? Thank you, Prince, for giving us the heaven dew. Not only did we clear away the poison from the Gu technique, but we also broke through and started to enter the 5 changes of the Dao realm. If we can form Xiantian energy, our Gu technique will have a huge change. Our Gu poison sect mainly cultivates life Gu, and we aren't good at cultivation. Wang Ji said, these few days I have taught close to 100 disciples, but I only taught them how to make the bug-gathering pill. I didn't dare to teach them those evil things. Very good, I saw that they use bugs to make pills, and the effects are really good. Gu Qinsha flipped the books and asked about the sales. He then picked up a few pills and took a look. He knew that they were top-grade pills. In the past, we hid and didn't have a chance to make pills. We have to thank Prince for protecting us. These few days, we bought large amounts of herbs from the outside and combined them with the Gu technique to craft some pills that are only recorded in the books. Wang Ji picked up a pitch-black pill. This pill is called the blood-cleansing pill. After consuming it, it can wash away the impurities in the body and purify the blood and flesh. When normal people eat grains, meat, and vegetables, there will be impurities in their bodies. If they aren't excreted cleanly, they will get sick and rot. After consuming this pill, all the impurities will be excreted and only the purest essence will be left. This will give many people hope to raise their cultivation. Moreover, this pill is really easy to refine. There is a small Gu bug in the pill which clears the impurities in the body. Every 3 days, it is the same as clearing the poison. This pill is really good. Gu Qinsha said, has the sales increased? It has. Some of the Yin family's disciples have taken it, and their cultivation has improved greatly. Their bodies are strong and healthy. The women and young ladies in their boudoirs have smooth skin and feel refreshed after taking it. Therefore, the Yin family ordered 100,000 pills. Wang Ji said, fortunately, there are countless poisonous bugs in the wilderness. Otherwise, we really wouldn't be able to make it. This is turning waste into treasure. Gu Qinsha was very happy because this was a way to make money and other fiefdoms could not imitate it. In the future, this medical center will have to expand. If you lack money or manpower, you can tell little godson. Thank you for your support, Prince. Wang Ji and Lan Qi were very touched. We are very satisfied now. We treat people every day, refine pills, and cultivate. No one comes to disturb or slay demons. If this can continue, we will really be immortals. You are true cultivators. Gu Qinsha was filled with respect. I won't let any of you get hurt. After inspecting the medical hall, Gu Qinsha said to Shi Zhongchan, the 2 people we recruited this time were really worth it. However, it's a little strange that the barbarian tribe from the demonic ape temple hasn't attacked us these days. Based on the intel I got, they might attack at any moment. Shi Zhongchan's expression became solemn. Not long ago, the highest leader of Ape Demon Temple, Yuan Shasheng, personally went to meet dozens of barbarian kings for a meeting. The reason why they haven't attacked is because they are waiting for a chance. Waiting for what chance? Gu Qinsha asked. The emperor's worship. Shi Zhongchan's expression was really bad. If something happens during the worship, then it will be a little problematic. Brother, you seem to have reached Dao Realm Transformation 8? Gu Chensha changed the topic. He had thought about this topic many times, but there was nothing he could do. If I consume the 7 Saint Heart training pill and still can't reach Dao Realm Transformation 8, then I will really be ashamed. Shi Zhongchan was really conceited when he said those words. Pung, pung, pung. At that moment, Lu Yu and the other 4 and a bunch of soldiers chased dozens of cows over. Those cows were as big as elephants, and their bodies were snow white. The horns on their heads were blood red, and their bodies were filled with vengeful energy. They opened their mouths and actually had sharp teeth. It was obvious that they didn't eat grass, but flesh and blood. The vengeful energy on their bodies was something that even poisonous bugs didn't dare to get close to. King, there are strong barbaric bulls passing by. I led the soldiers to capture them, and we managed to capture dozens of them. Lu Yu flew over. You reached Dao Realm Transformation 2? Gu Qinsha looked at his movement technique and knew that he had broken through once more. In terms of realm, he was on the same level as him. It is all thanks to King's nurturing. Lu Yu and the other 4 swords became more and more exquisite. We are using sword energy to restrict these bulls, but we can't restrict them for long. Once they break free, they will go crazy. Even a martial path grandmaster would find it hard to suppress them, but they would hurt and even eat people. Chapter 131. Wang Zhi and Lan Qi were experts from the Gu poison sect. Not only could they save people, but they could also use Gu's sorcery to make people obey their orders wholeheartedly. Otherwise, they would suffer a fate worse than death. This was also why the Gu poison sect was so terrifying. The people in the fief were well-fed and lived a happy life. The warriors trained hard, the merchants bought and sold goods, and the commoners farmed. This atmosphere made Gu Chensha feel very comfortable and satisfied. He took a deep breath. He felt that if he wanted to protect this peace, he needed more power. He took out a fragment of the heavenly demon relic sealed in a spirit crystal. He squeezed it with his hand, and the spirit crystal cracked. The heavenly demon relic fragment fell out. He put the broken spirit crystal into the gourd and picked up the white fragment the size of a grain of rice. Each fragment contained a spirit crystal the size of a palm. If it was melted into spiritual liquid, the amount would be very large. A spirit crystal the size of a soybean could be turned into a vat of spiritual liquid after it was melted. A spirit crystal the size of a palm could probably be described as priceless. However, it was nothing to the heavenly demon relic that was wrapped in it. Whoosh! Gu Chensha entered the sun-moon altar. He wanted to attract the sun and moon dragon fire to see if he could really refine the heavenly demon relic fragment. I offer my blood as a sacrifice to the heavens. Sun and moon dragon fire descend. Gu Chensha forced out his blood and sprinkled it on the altar. Suddenly, a raging flame appeared on the altar. It took the shape of a dragon and swam around. Refine, he shouted. The sun and moon dragon fire wrapped around the heavenly demon relic. Crackle! The heavenly demon relic fragment actually melted. It turned into a stream of air that was neither black nor white. It gathered and changed into all kinds of shapes. Within the stream of air, there were all kinds of life in the world. He could see peddlers and pawns, officials and nobles, immortal scholars, pigs, dogs, cows, sheep, mountains, seas, rivers. Absorbing it can increase my power of divinity. How do I absorb it? Gu Chensha opened his mouth and sucked in the stream of air, but it was useless. He spat it out again, but he could not absorb it no matter what. He tried again and again, but he was unable to absorb it into his soul. He started to recall the large amount of books he had read. Suddenly, a sentence appeared in his mind. The 10 transformations of the Tao realm allows one to do 1,000 things at the same time. This is the rough use of the power of God. The 11 transformations, the soul tentacles, allow one to sense outside the body. The 12th transformation, soul snatching, allowed one to use one's mind to control the souls of living beings and interfere with the world. The 13 transformations, devouring devils and eating ghosts, means that one's spirit is like the pure yang fire, which can transform into devils. Only then can one truly display the might of the world. So, I have to cultivate to Tao realm 13 transformations, demon swallowing and ghost eating. Only then can I merge the energy from the sky demon shard into my soul to strengthen my mind. If not, it would be useless. Gu Qinsha knew that his cultivation was far from enough. Devils and ghosts did not have a tangible body, but a massive spirit. Moreover, they carried evil qi and impurities. If they invaded a person's soul, it would cause them to go crazy. Even cultivators were very afraid of devils and ghost qi. When one reached Tao realm 13 transformations, one could forcefully swallow demon swallowing and ghost eating to strengthen one's own cultivation. Gu Qinsha hadn't even reached Tao realm 3 transformations, so it was like an ant trying to shake a tree to merge with it. Great dragon armor. Suddenly, he had an idea. The great dragon armor wrapped up the energy and used fresh blood to write runes on it. He then used fresh blood to summon the sun-moon dragon fire once more. This time, there was a miraculous effect. The energy from a sky demon relic shard actually merged into the great dragon armor, just like that. The great dragon armor shuddered, as if it had a soul of its own. It let out a roar, and in the blink of an eye, it transformed into a 15-meter-long dragon that flew around the sun-moon altar, exuding the majesty of a king. There was a crown on the dragon's head. It wasn't a great dragon-grade treasure, but a king dragon-grade armor. What was even more amazing was that when the dragon breathed, large amounts of spiritual energy would descend and seep into its body. Just like the 5 god swords, it could absorb spiritual energy and cultivate on its own. Ha ha ha! Gu Qinsha laughed out loud. The great dragon armor hasn't been able to level up to the king dragon armor because it lacks my soul. My cultivation is too low, so no matter how much sun-moon dragon blood I use, I can't level it up. Now that the armor has merged with the purest spiritual energy from the sky demon relic shard, it has transformed. With this armor, even Yiming won't be able to kill me. He took out a crystal and crushed it to obtain the sky demon relic shard. He had stolen a total of 9 shards from the chaotic demon ape temple. He sacrificed fresh blood to summon the sun-moon dragon fire to refine the relic. However, he obtained another ball of energy. He wanted to merge it into the king dragon armor to strengthen it, but it couldn't. It was very likely that the shard wasn't from the same relic. Thus, with a backhand slap, he slapped the demon's subduing blade. Just like the king dragon armor, the demon descending blade underwent a qualitative change. It had spirituality and flew up on its own, breathing in and out spiritual energy. Its body shone brightly, and with a slight tremble, the sword gleamed and its sharpness increased several times. Good sword. I wonder if this sword can cut through the glass jade body. Gu Qinsha put on the armor and picked up the blade. He calculated its power. I'll find Yiming to test it out. If he can't do anything to me, then my armor and sword will be the real treasures. The Sky Demon relic is indeed extraordinary. The Sky Demon was an extremely evil existence from the outer realm. It came and went without a trace, and was as scary as the god of evil. After the Sky Demon died, its spiritual energy gathered and turned into a relic. Only the Son of Heaven could use the Sun-Moon Dragon blood as a sacrifice to obtain the Sun-Moon Dragon fire from the heavenly axiom. Only then could the relic be melted and the evil energy be expelled, turning it into a pure spiritual source. This time, Gu Qinsha's cultivation did not improve, but his weapon and armor had a qualitative leap. A treasure that could absorb spiritual energy and had a soul was a terrifying existence. I gave the magic-breaking celestial sword to Yiming. My real treasures are the Dragon Transformation Pagoda and the Dragon Transformation Fluid. This pagoda is slowly evolving, and I don't know when it will finish. I don't have the energy to refine it every day. Gu Qinsha had high hopes for the Dragon Transformation Pagoda. However, apart from cultivating, he had to use his blood to draw talismans every day to refine the Black Tortoise Egg, Great Dragon Armor, and Demon Descending Blade. If he used that time to refine the dragon transformation pagoda, he wouldn't have enough energy and blood. He could only wait until his cultivation was a little stronger. After 3 months of tempering, his spiritual energy had filled his diaphragm. Apart from some small areas that weren't as smooth as he wanted, it was more or less connected. As long as the spiritual energy broke through the jade pillow acupoint at the back of his head and reached the brain, he would reach the Tao realm third transformation, copper skin, and iron bones. At the same time, he would be able to cultivate the sun-moon dragon scales, sun-moon dragon skin, and sun-moon dragon bones to a small success. After coming out of the sun-moon sacrificial altar, the king dragon armor expanded and contracted according to his will. It was no different from an arm, and it was the same for the demon descending blade. He had sacrificed his blood to summon the sun-moon dragon fire, which consumed some blood. However, after consuming the heavenly dew, he recovered it immediately. After sacrificing the evil god's flesh and blood, he had obtained 3 big buckets of heavenly dew. After so many days of consumption, he had also rewarded Yiming, his adopted son, Liu, Shi Zhongshan, Long Zifei, Long Yuxia, Long Yuhong, Wang Ji, Lan Qi, and the others. Of course, he had to use it sparingly. He himself was a huge consumer of heavenly dew. If he hadn't sacrificed the evil god's flesh and blood, he would have been struggling. His cultivation progress wouldn't have been so fast. After all, it had only been a year since he had obtained the Heaven's Sacrificial Talisman. He had gone from a beginner martial artist to a cultivator at the second transformation of the Tao realm. This was considered shocking even among the 72 mystical sects of the primordial era. Only innate sages could compare to him. However, this was all because of the Heaven Sacrificial Talisman. Without it, he would probably still be a martial artist. Only the Son of Destiny could possess the Heaven Sacrificial Talisman. Father said that if I didn't experience hardship, I wouldn't be able to obtain this opportunity. Also, he said that I won half a chess piece in a game of chess with the heavens. Could it be that this Heaven Sacrificial Talisman didn't originally belong to me? I'm not the Son of Destiny. Was he the one who forcefully twisted the fate of the heavens and reversed yin and yang? That's why I obtained the Heaven Sacrificial Talisman. Gu Qinsha had been thinking about this question for the past few days. However, he had no way to verify it with the Heaven Talisman Emperor. The Heaven Talisman Emperor's height wasn't something he could understand. However, the Heaven Talisman Emperor's words made him secretly wary. Since this Heaven Sacrificial Talisman didn't belong to him, he had to be prepared to disappear at any time. Originally, he was overly reliant on this talisman. If it disappeared, his spirit would probably collapse. However, after receiving the guidance of the fourth Guhua Sha, he actually comprehended the clumsy fist. His thoughts gradually calmed down. He was happy to obtain it and happy to lose it. Such a cultivation realm had broadened his mind and allowed him to see many things more clearly. As he pondered, he went downstairs. At this moment, Yiming was teaching Long Zifei, his foster son, Long Yuxia, Long Yuhong, and the others how to cultivate. His foster son had actually stepped into the Tao realm. Just by breathing, he seemed to have some sort of aura. As for Long Zifei, the little boy, his fists were like lightning and his right hand was like the tides. He was simply a natural genius in martial arts. Master, Yiming saw Gu Qinsha and hurriedly bowed. My foster son broke through to the Tao realm because the 7 Saint Heart refinement pill awakened his wisdom. During these days, he has been studying all sorts of books, especially the martial Tao chapters in the Heavenly Talisman Grand Ceremony. He has gained many insights. I also know that the 7 Saint Heart refinement pill is extremely mystical. It was originally created by the 7 Saint Heart refinement pill for the commoners. But since the barbarian race obtained so much, why didn't they give it to their own people? Gu Qinsha asked. The barbarian race worships the evil god. If they consume this pill, their minds will become clear and they will truly be enlightened. They will no longer worship the evil god. Yiming said, Chapter 132. Yiming observed and realized that there was something weird about Guchench's body. His cultivation was really strong, and he could see the changes in the armor. It was constantly absorbing spiritual energy, and the intensity was huge. It was as if hundreds of Tao realm experts were forcefully absorbing it at the same time. What strong mental strength! Even if the treasure has a mind of its own and can absorb spiritual energy, it shouldn't be able to absorb so much. Even my mental strength can't be as strong as this armor. What has been injected into it? Yiming was more and more shocked. So, Gu Qinsha flew up and left the castle. He arrived above Wild Forest and slowly landed on the top of a tree. Yiming followed, but his speed was actually slower than the King Dragon armor. I merged the Sky Demon relic into the armor. Gu Qinsha said, "Don't ask how. Just know that I merged it." So, that is the case. Yiming nodded. Even if the Heavenly Demon relic is just a fragment, it still far surpasses my consciousness power. The intensity of the spiritual energy I absorb depends on the strength of my consciousness. I see that this armor absorbs twice as much spiritual energy as I do. But Master's armor is much stronger than the average King Dragon armor. The same goes for this sword. Gu Qinsha took out the Demon Descending Blade. I have refined it for so long and finally have some results. With these two treasures, I am not afraid of Seventh and Big Brother. Master, you still have to be careful. Putting aside the fact that the Seventh Prince and the Eldest Prince's cultivation is above mine, they definitely have some trump cards as well. The School of Legalism and the Hung family are great clans that have existed for thousands of years. The amount of resources they have accumulated is not something ordinary clans can compare to, Yiming warned. I know that. That's why I'm experimenting to understand my own abilities. Gu Qinsha raised his sword and suddenly moved, stabbing towards Yiming. Yiming grabbed with one hand, and an energy whirlpool appeared in front of him. This whirlpool was the size of a water tank, and any metal or mountain that was sucked in would be smashed into powder. The moment Gu Qinsha's sword touched the whirlpool, the world started spinning. It was as if he had encountered a giant storm, and he was unable to stabilize his body. King Dragon Power, Ocean Calming God. He activated the power of the King Dragon armor with his mind. Boom! A massive amount of power erupted from it, completely unafraid of the maelstrom. It forcibly passed through it, and the demon-subduing blade unleashed a star-shattering, space-shattering, demon-exterminating strike. The Great Spirit God technique, 3 forms in 1. Yiming glided through the air and dodged Gu Qinsha's attack with the agility of a swallow. Then he punched out. His Khanate Gang Chi turned into a drill and drilled into the King Dragon armor. With the ability of Yiming Tao Realm 9 transformations, Glass Jade Body, and Sciention Earth Energy, even a metal mountain would be pierced through. However, when the innate stellar energy hit the King Dragon armor, it only produced a deafening boom. After the sound faded, not even a strand of hair fell. The mountain-shattering strike was completely neutralized. Inescapable net. This attack was useless. Yiming's hands moved again and again. The innate upstanding chi turned into gossamer threads, densely arranged in the sky. He was like a spider spirit weaving a huge web, but it wrapped around Gu Qinsha, making it difficult for him to move. Break! Gu Qinsha repeatedly used the demon-conquering blade in his hand to cut through the layers of gossamer threads, trying to get close to Yiming. However, Yiming's true chi grew more and more gossamer threads, entangling in layers and densely covering the sky, giving him a huge resistance. The friction between the innate upstanding chi threads and the King Dragon armor produced sparks. If it were a human, they would have been cut into countless pieces, but they could do nothing to the King Dragon armor. Clumsy punch. Seeing that he couldn't break through the layers of innate upstanding chi threads, Gu Qinsha used his most powerful fist technique, using the demon-conquering blade as a fist and punched in the air. This attack became clumsier and clumsier, like an old man or an old woman who couldn't see clearly and was shakily sewing clothes for their children and grandchildren under the dim light, every stitch filled with love. It was such a clumsy attack, but it managed to break through the net of innate stellar energy that covered the sky and reach Yiming. Yiming was slightly surprised. The innate, upstanding qi quickly condensed on his fist, and the highly concentrated upstanding qi crackled and exploded. The fist and sword collided. Long. Gu Chunsha fell from the sky and smashed into the forest, creating a deep hole. Luckily, the king dragon armor protected him, so he just felt dizzy and wasn't injured. Yiming landed from the sky. Master, this king dragon armor is really amazing. I used the Hell King Death Omen kill from the Maha Hell Suppression scripture, and it actually didn't break its defense. If you hit it a few more times, I would have died from the shockwaves. Gu Chinch's face was covered in dust. Although the king dragon armor dissipated most of the shockwaves, some of the shockwaves still spread to my body. If Master can reach the third and fourth Dao realm transformation, then no matter how strong the shockwaves are, they won't be able to do anything to you. Along with the king dragon armor, you might really have a chance to defeat me. Yiming said, with Master's current strength, you can at most escape from an expert with a 9 transformations glass jade body. There's no hope of winning. Of course, if you meet someone with the 7 or 8 transformations, you can still defeat or even kill them. It is already not bad to be able to do this. Gu Qinsha shook off the dirt on his body. My talent is really bad. If I was Long Zai-Fei, I would have cultivated Xiantian earth energy long ago. Gu Qinsha had used up so many resources along the way. Large amounts of sky dew, dragon transformation liquid, 7 Saint Heart refining pill. If all of these were piled up on a genius, then that person would definitely not be at the second Dao realm transformation. Long Zai-Fei is a top genius, and he is pure. He doesn't look like an evil person. I will observe him for a period of time, and if he is really loyal, then Master can reward him with the 7 Saint Heart refining pill. Yiming thought about it. If he can get the 7 Saint Heart refining pill, then in a short year he will be able to cultivate Xiantian earth energy. Maybe even more. So it's amazing? Gu Chunsha was shocked. The cultivation speed of a top genius is just terrifying. So what if he is a natural saint? Isn't that even more unbelievable? Of course, I can't imagine how terrifying a natural saint is. Yiming recalled that Fa Wuxian's realm isn't as high as mine, but when he looked at me, I actually felt like he was a high and mighty god. I couldn't even think about fighting him. The stupid bird can only fly first. Gu Qinsha was filled with fighting spirit. This was the meaning of the clumsy fist that he comprehended. After this battle with Yiming, Gu Qinsha basically understood the extent of his combat strength. Thus, he could make inferences in his heart. Right? If Master can refine the Sky Demon Relic, he can replenish the Black Tortoise Egg Soul. Yiming suddenly said, "It is really difficult to hatch the Black Tortoise Egg because it has been around for a long time. Although Master's bloodline can activate the life force of the egg, the consumption of the soul in the egg is really huge. Moreover, the Black Tortoise God Beast's soul can shock ghosts and gods. It isn't like normal cultivators who can't refine souls. There's such a thing." Gu Qinsha was overjoyed. "If that's the case, I'll do my best to hatch the Black Tortoise Egg. I wonder how powerful the real Black Tortoise God Beast is. The Black Tortoise is one of the 4 symbols. Its power is far greater than the other God Beasts," Yiming said. "Even a newborn Black Tortoise's power is probably far greater than mine. An adult Black Tortoise God Beast can stand shoulder to shoulder. I'll go now." Gu Qinsha immediately returned to the mansion study. He asked Yiming to stand guard outside while he sacrificed his blood to attract the sun and moon dragon fire to burn the Sky Demon Relic. Immediately, a Sky Demon Relic fragment was refined into a chaotic airflow. He tried to let the airflow stick to the Black Tortoise Egg. As expected, the Black Tortoise Egg seemed to have encountered something delicious. It absorbed the airflow, but the egg itself didn't change. He gritted his teeth and sacrificed his own blood again to refine another Sky Demon Relic fragment. He wanted to see if the Black Tortoise Egg could absorb it. As expected, the Black Tortoise Egg didn't care if they were fragments of the same relic. Even if they were xenogeneic grade, it could still absorb them. It was much stronger than the king dragon armor. The king dragon armor and the demon exorcism blade could not absorb the other fragments after absorbing one. It was as if they were fixed. The black tortoise egg, on the other hand, had the ability to swallow demons and ghouls. It could swallow anything. Just like that, Gu Qinsha cultivated for another month. He consumed sky dew, sacrificed his blood, and summoned countless sun and moon dragon fire. Finally, he refined all the remaining sky demon relic fragments and fed them to the black tortoise egg. The black tortoise egg had swallowed so many sky demon relic fragments, but it still hadn't hatched. However, many ancient runes appeared on its surface. The runes were ancient and filled with the aura of primordial chaos. No way. Gu Qinsha's eyes widened. I used so much blood and sky dew, but I still can't hatch you? Isn't that a waste? Damn it. I still have the 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill. I'll give you one too. I'll let you listen to the Tao rhymes of the human 7 sages. You're also a holy beast, so you should be able to communicate with the sages. It should be able to increase your intelligence. He was also trying to find a doctor in a desperate situation. He took out a 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill and used his blood to form a talisman. After melting it, he sprinkled it on the black tortoise egg. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The black tortoise egg became even happier. It absorbed everything, and a thought came from the egg. It seemed like it wanted to eat more, like a greedy baby asking for food. What? You can only eat 1 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill. Gu Qinsha was shocked. It's useless to eat more. It's a waste. However, the thought in the black tortoise egg grew stronger. It had to eat it. Gu Qinsha had no choice. He took out another pill and fed it to the black tortoise egg, but it was still not enough. The thought from the egg wanted to eat more. It seems like there's been some change. Gu Qinsha's sharp senses noticed that the black tortoise egg had indeed changed after eating the 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill. There was a holy aura on the egg. Immediately, he fed the 7 Saints Heart Tempering pill again, 1 pill at a time. He fed the 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill to the black tortoise egg like a tang dough. After so many months of hard work, he felt that the black tortoise baby was like his son. In order to hatch the baby as soon as possible, he didn't care so much. He didn't know how many pills he fed. Suddenly, Kacha! The top of the black tortoise egg cracked, and a black hole appeared. The black hole was like a whirlpool, seeping into the void. Then, the purple air was sucked into the egg. At the same time, there was a faint purple air floating in the bedroom. What is this purple air? Gu Qinsha sucked in a little. The moment it entered his body, he felt like his body was being burned. Huge energy flowed in the depths of his meridians. It was many times better than the quality of spiritual energy. It was even more domineering than the heavenly dew. Chapter 133. You going to hatch? He was overjoyed. It was reasonable for the black tortoise baby to call him father. He had used his blood to hatch for so long and had a connection with it. It could be said that the black tortoise baby had grown up drinking his sun-moon dragon blood. I haven't been born yet, but I've awakened and can absorb celestial chi. As long as I absorb enough celestial chi, I'll be able to hatch. The black tortoise baby said, Father, you can't absorb celestial chi immediately or your body will explode. You could dilute the trace of celestial chi with spirit chi and slowly absorb it. I'll infuse the celestial chi into the castle's earth veins and nurture it, turning this castle into a celestial realm. It'll be stronger than many grotto heavens and blessed lands. Then when will you truly be reborn? Gu Qinsha asked. I don't know, but it won't be long. The black tortoise baby yawned in his mind. Father, I'm going to sleep first. In my sleep, I'll communicate with the earth veins, and you'll be able to see the changes in the castle. Also, the magic treasures in the castle don't need to be infused with spirit chi in the future. Under my influence, they'll connect with the earth veins and become stronger. Gu Qinsha seemed to see the black tortoise baby sleeping in his mind, but it was still absorbing celestial chi and pouring it into the depths of the ground. At the same time, the The traces of purple celestial chi floating in the bedroom were also absorbed. However, the aura of the entire castle seemed to have changed greatly again. Whoosh! Yiming flew in with a surprised look. Master, this castle. I just breathed in and felt energy flowing endlessly. What's going on? The black tortoise egg has been completely activated by me. It's absorbing celestial chi that's much more powerful than spirit chi. This chi is merging with the earth veins. Gu Chunsha understood everything. In the future, this castle will become a true celestial realm. The 9 magic treasures have also been activated and can be activated at any time. Outsiders won't be able to invade. Celestial Chi. Yiming gasped. True celestial chi cannot be absorbed by those with low cultivation because it's too domineering. However, if it merges with the earth veins, it'll be completely different. Even ordinary grass here will become celestial grass. Master, I think we should plant purplish-green immortal peach trees and fire dates in the castle. They will grow very quickly. I'll take care of this matter. All right. Gu Chensha also breathed in the air here. He felt as if he was floating in the air, as if he wasn't in the mortal world. I've finally done what I needed to do. When I cultivate in this castle, my progress is truly fast. All right, my 7 Saints Heart Refining Pill. Only then did he realize that the 7 Sages Heart Refinement Pill had been given to the black tortoise baby like it was a tang bean. He hurriedly began to check how many pills were left. However, he discovered that he only had 157 Sage Heart Tempering pills left. My God, I had more than 400, and now there are only 150 left? The black tortoise baby ate so much of me. Gu Qinsha almost wailed. 2 7 Sages Heart Refining pills were enough for the Heavenly Designer Institute to build a fiefdom, a castle, and roads. The black tortoise swallowed more than 300 of them. How much could it be exchanged for? Whether it was a loss or a profit, it was hard to say. There was a mysterious power in the castle that helped cultivation. But if 307 Saint Heart Refining pills were given to people, they would be able to create a bunch of experts in a short period of time. But thinking about it, it was worth it to be able to hatch the black tortoise baby. Just thinking about it made Gu Chansha feel less pained. As for the remaining 157 Saint Heart Refining pills, he had to use them well. He slowly absorbed spiritual energy to refine the celestial energy in his body. His cultivation was really strong. If it was any other cultivator who hadn't reached Tao Realm Transformation 4, their meridians would have been burned by the celestial energy, and they would have become useless. But he knew that if the celestial energy was refined, there would be huge benefits to it. He started to cultivate once more. But just as he cultivated for 3 days, an imperial edict came to summon him to the border palace to meet the Heaven Talisman Emperor. Gu Chansha passed the golden talisman that controlled the entire castle to Yiming and told him to take charge in case outsiders invaded. This time, he didn't bring the black tortoise egg away. Although the black tortoise baby hadn't hatched, it could absorb and spit out celestial energy and control the earth veins. At the same time, it could use the 9 treasures. Even Gu Qinsha himself might not be its match. If it absorbed enough celestial energy and came out, even Yiming would be far weaker than it. This time, he didn't bring any followers. He was just 1 person, 1 armor, and 1 sword. He passed the token and entered the palace. In the barren land outside the pass, the market became bigger and bigger. Many forests were leveled and swamps were filled up. It was transformed into a clean city and market. The houses were all built with a mix of stone and steel and were indestructible. To Gu Chincha's surprise, there was a steel road that stretched from the capital to the barren land. On the steel road, huge iron carriages moved like centipedes. The iron carriages were filled with goods and transported to and fro. The speed of these iron carriages was faster and more convenient than ships. The only problem was that they consumed a lot of steel, but they indirectly increased the flow of wealth among the people and strengthened the country. I really don't understand the changes in the world. With every passing month, the world is turned upside down. Gu Qinsha waited outside the palace. Between the tall buildings, the road was flat and wide. People came and went, and there were many carriages and horses. There were also many carriage drivers waiting by the side of the road. The carriage drivers were also very strange. They rode on it and used the flying wheels to drive it. They moved like they were flying on the flat stone road, but they weren't much slower than horses. This was the latest vehicle developed by the Heavenly Designer Institute. As long as one person stepped on it, they could pull thousands of kilograms of goods. If this continues for another 10 years, how prosperous will the world be? Gu Qinsha guessed. At this time, a eunuch came out of the palace and bowed to him. Royal Prince Chun, the princes are all gathered in the East Palace. I will bring you there now. The eunuch bowed and said, Is everyone here? What's the matter? Gu Qinsha threw 100 yuan note over. The eunuch accepted it with a smile. The emperor is moving the capital, and some immortal Dao sects have come to congratulate. The emperor wants to invite them to a banquet, so the princes have come to entertain the guests. Immortal Dao sects have come to congratulate. Gu Qinsha was puzzled. He knew that many immortal Dao sects hated Heavenly Talisman Emperor and wanted nothing more than to get rid of him. In the eyes of the immortal Dao sects, Heavenly Talisman Emperor was more evil than a devil. In the past, when the disciples of the ancient 72 immortal Dao sects came to the mortal world, they were all immortal masters. The emperor had to kneel and greet them respectfully. But now, even those powerful immortal Dao sect masters and old monsters who could fly in the sky and move mountains and seas were beaten to a pulp. They were very respectful to the imperial court. With Heavenly Talisman Emperor around, the imperial court was the legendary Heavenly Court. Even immortals had to bow their heads. Following the eunuch to the East Palace, flowers were in full bloom. Birds and swallows danced in the air, white deer grazed in the garden, and red-crowned cranes soared in the sky. Palace after palace, many people were enjoying the flowers, drinking, and chatting. Gu Qinsha saw Lu Baiwe among them, drinking tea and chatting with a few women. He went over to greet them. So it's Royal Prince Chun. Lu Baiwe introduced. This is Fairy Luo Wu, Fairy Shi Wu, and Fairy Shui Wu of the mystical sky dance sect. Greetings to the three fairies. Gu Qinsha cupped his hands in greeting, but secretly sensed the three's auras. It was a blur, and he couldn't tell what realm they were at. As for Lu Baiwe, it was the same. In his perception, although Lu Baiwe was right in front of him, she seemed to be in a different space from him. She seemed to be in a trance like a ghost. He didn't know what kind of cultivation method she was cultivating, but he was sure that her realm was far above his. We're just ordinary cultivators. How can we be called fairies? Your Highness praises us too much. Luo Wu returned the greeting. All lands under the heavens belong to the imperial court. We are but commoners. How can we accept your Highness's courtesy? People who live outside the world are free and unrestrained, but not under the jurisdiction of the imperial court. Moreover, the imperial court is in great need of talents. If the three of you can serve the imperial court, you will certainly be noble beyond words. Gu Qinsha could only speak indifferently. You've recruited Wang Ji and Lan Qi of the venomous poison sect. Now, the two of them have opened a medicine store, collected poisonous insects, and developed a venomous art. They're doing very well, and many fiefdoms have invited their disciples to expel insects. Lu Baiwe brought up this matter. With this, your fiefdom will be overflowing with wealth. It's not overflowing with wealth, but it's a lot more comfortable. Gu Qinsha didn't hide it. I didn't think that the venomous art would be so powerful. As long as there are poisonous insects, they can be made into spirit medicine and cure all kinds of diseases. I heard that the Celestial Designer Institute has even more advanced venomous arts, so I want to send them there to learn for a while. Can Mei Xiang, Xue Xiang, and Si Xiang learn from them? Lu Baiwe asked. That won't be a problem. I'll let them know when I get back. Gu Qinsha didn't refuse. When I came here, I saw that the Celestial Designer Institute is building a capital city. It's several times bigger than the capital, but the imperial palace hasn't been built yet. Why is that? You don't know about this, Liu Baiwei said. The imperial palace isn't built with materials from the mortal world. It's an immortal treasure forged by the Celestial Designer Institute a long time ago. When the capital city is finished, they can take out this treasure and turn it into the imperial palace. That way, it will look even more imposing. At the same time, it will suppress the imperial court's destiny and intimidate the entire wilderness. At that time, the earth veins in the wilderness will continuously gather, forming a group of dragons that will surround the newly built capital city. Furthermore, His Majesty will order the sect masters of the 72 immortal sects to bless the imperial palace and light it up. This means that the great Yonko has won the allegiance of the immortal Tao. Chapter 134. Black Heaven Earth sect has a deep hatred with the Emperor. Their young sect leader was killed by the Emperor, and their sect leader was injured by the Emperor. If it wasn't for the fact that this door itself is an artifact of the heavenly Tao, and that destroying this door might affect the world, His Majesty would have long destroyed the Black Gate of Heaven and Earth. Luo Wu casually recounted an earth-shattering past event. Of course, there were also a few close female friends in the Black Heaven Earth sect who pleaded for leniency. Only then did the sect regain some face. Fairy Luo Wu is really clear about the secrets of the Celestial Tao sect. Gu Qinsha knew that this matter involved the Celestial Tao sect, and it wasn't a small matter. But since she said it out loud, it was obvious that she supported the imperial court and didn't have a good relationship with Black Heaven Earth sect. The ancient 72 Celestial Tao sects also had intense internal conflicts. Sects fought and killed one another. This was similar to the conflicts in the imperial court. I also know that Prince Chun is a miracle. A year ago, he was still hiding his strength, but this year he soared into the sky. Luo Wu smiled and wanted to chat with Gu Qinsha. How did I soar into the sky? Fairy must be joking. Gu Qinsha waved his hand and said, "It's just a small accomplishment. I'm still far from it. I can't see through Fairy's cultivation level. It's definitely far above mine. I'm only able to chat with Fairy today because of my father." He wasn't looking down on himself. If not for Heaven Talisman Emperor, even if he was a prince, Luo Wu wouldn't even bother to look at him. Tao Realm, second transformation realm cultivation could be considered strong in the mortal world, but in a celestial Tao sect, he was just an unassuming disciple. Oh, 19 is here. At this moment, a voice rang out. The 10th prince, Gu Zhenlong, strode over with an intimidating aura. He was also talking to a few disciples from the immortal Tao sects, but when he saw Gu Qinsha, he immediately walked over. Old 10, these are all celestial Tao sect disciples. Don't have any conflicts. Solve this later. Liu Baiyue's expression changed. The Emperor ordered me to receive many celestial Tao sect disciples. You can't mess around. Baiwei, why would I act recklessly? The 10th prince, Gu Zhinsha, grew taller and taller. He gave off the feeling of a god looking down on the common people. It was unknown what kind of martial arts he had cultivated. His gloomy temperament had a hint of fierceness. In the fierceness, there was a fury that could burn the heavens and the earth. I heard that the 19th prince has been practicing martial arts quite well recently. I wanted to try out my fist technique. Oh, 10th brother's cultivation is amazing too. He actually broke through several realms and reached the 4th transformation of the Tao realm. His internal organs are like a furnace, and he is immune to all poisons. Gu Qinsha couldn't see through Luo Wu, Liu Baiwei, and the others' cultivation, but he could see through Gu Zhinsha's. A year ago, Lin Fan was at the same realm as him, a martial technique grandmaster. Now, he was only at Tao Realm Transformation 2, while he was at Transformation 4. It's good that you know. The 10th prince, Gu Zhinsha, laughed sinisterly. He reached out with his hand towards Gu Qinsha's head. His 5 fingers were spread open. His hand was big and wide like a cattail leaf fan. When it slapped towards his head, there was actually the sound of thunder. It was as if the thunder god above was raging. Gu Qinsha also moved. He punched out. It was as slow as a turtle crawling, yet as fast as a snake biting a man. Movement and stillness were combined, but his fist intent was very ordinary and ordinary. It was like an old farmer plowing the fields, using a hoe to dig for food, difficult with bitterness. When one looked at this fist, one would see the hardships of the people over the thousands of years. Lu Baiyue's gaze suddenly sharpened. She saw that the moment Gu Qinsha punched, his temperament changed abruptly. It was as if he was an ancient sage looking at the hardships of the common people, and tears streamed down his face. He sighed to cover his tears, lamenting the hardships of the people. This fist wasn't a martial art anymore. Pung! The fist arrived. The person flew. Gu Qinsha flew. Just one fist, and the 10th prince, who was at Transformation 4, was sent flying. He smashed into a tree and slowly slid down. He wasn't injured at all. The reason why he wasn't injured wasn't because Gu Qinsha's fist wasn't strong, but because he held back. Damn! 10th Prince Gu Qinsha didn't expect that he would be sent flying. He was furious. Rage burned and his blood boiled. Smoke started to seep out from his 7 orifices. Rage fist. Smoke rose from his 7 orifices. He stomped on the ground. Hung long. He felt like a meteor. Flames of rage descended from the sky. This was the rage of the heavens, the rage of the earth, and the rage of the man. Everything was furious. Rage burned the entire world, and it had the power to destroy it. This is the Rage Fist, an extremely terrifying fist of the ancient shaman Tao. It is rumored that a person's rage is limitless. This fist is born from the person's rage, and it is also limitless. Some disciples of the immortal Tao sects felt the terrifying rage, and their expressions immediately changed. In the blink of an eye, 10th Prince Gu Qinsha was in front of Gu Qinsha once more. His fist was filled with rage, and no one could block his rage. Gu Qinsha punched once more. It was still twisting and turning like it was learning how to walk. It was really clumsy and funny, like a pregnant woman working carefully in case she hurt the baby in her stomach. Pung! The fist arrived. People were sent flying. It was still 10th Prince Gu Qinsha. All his martial arts were useless in front of Gu Qinsha's fist. Even the ancient witchcraft's wrath fist was broken by his self-created clumsy fist. Gu Qinsha slid down from the tree, but didn't attack again. He stared at Gu Qinsha as if he wanted to turn into a beast and eat him. 10th brother, thank you. Gu Qinsha didn't want to waste time with the 10th prince. After all, there were so many outsiders present. It wasn't honorable for brothers to fight to the death. I was lucky enough to win by half a move, but I'll stop here. If 10th brother really wants to, we can arrange a time to have a good spar. You, 10th Prince Gu Qinsha, was furious, but a young man pressed down on his shoulder. Cousin, don't be impatient. Let me say a few words. Seeing this young man, Gu Qinsha's anger subsided. All right, you deal with him. The young man walked in front of Gu Qinsha and cupped his hands. Duke Chun, I am Lei Tianhui. Lei family. Gu Qinsha sized him up and realized that he couldn't see through this person's strength. He knew that he wasn't simple. He didn't put on airs and asked, What is it, Brother Lei? I am a cousin of the 10th Highness. I saw your fist technique and was itching. Can I spar with you? Lei Tianhui's expression didn't change at all. Lei Tianhui, the top of the Lei family's younger generation. When you stepped into Dao realm, you killed a barbarian general. The Imperial Court's evaluation of you is that you are a genius. Your cultivation is at Dao Realm 8 Transformation Samadhi True Flame. Lu Baiyue walked forwards. With your cultivation, you actually dare to stand up for him? I won't use any Xiantian energy. Lei Tianhui stood with his hands behind his back. I will use the power of martial arts. Also, Duke Chun can use any Dharma treasures. I will fight him barehanded. What do you think? Okay. As Gu Qinsha spoke, he stabbed out with his sword. His demon descending blade appeared in his hands, and his entire body was covered in the king dragon armor. If it were any other Dharma treasure, there would be flaws when it was used. However, the demon's subduing blade and the king dragon armor were refined with his own blood, and he had exhausted all of his energy. When he used them, they were no different from his own arms. They were like extra limbs. The demon-subduing blade was still very clumsy, without any fancy moves, plain and simple. It was like an ordinary commoner doing his daily chores, busying himself with oil, salt, firewood, and rice. He was ignorant and did not know how to improve, numb and satisfied. The sword followed his heart. The heart and the sword followed. Lei Tianhui turned pale with fright. When Gu Chansha drew his sword, the armor and the demon-subduing blade seemed to have materialized out of thin air. They actually combined perfectly with his will. The strength of the sword and the armor was beyond Lei Tianhui's imagination. Kacha-kacha. Before the sword reached his body, lightning-like energy appeared on Lei Tianhui's body. The Xiantian energy instantly formed into a physical form. Kacha-kacha. It formed into a ball of lightning and exploded in the air. Boom! The sword and the ball of lightning collided and a huge shockwave spread out. The strong wind created a whirlpool that rushed into the sky. Gu Chansha was shaken by this and retreated repeatedly. His qi and blood were unstable. Lei Tianhui stood there with an awkward expression on his face. He had promised not to use any Xiantian energy. He didn't expect that his opponent's attack would be unstoppable. He was actually forced to use the Lei family's strongest energy technique, lightning calamity. Pa 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 pa, Luo Wu clapped. What a good lightning calamity. This is formed by condensing the Xiantian energy to the extreme and splitting it into many small runes. They vibrate with each other and suddenly explode. It's extremely powerful. Even someone at the glass body realm will die. This move can only be formed when one reaches the 10 transformations of the Tao realm. It requires a lot of mental energy to control the Xiantian energy and combine it into hundreds of different runes. Brother Tianhui is indeed a genius to be able to use it at the 8 transformations. Hearing this, Lei Tianhui's expression turned even uglier. Brother Lei, thanks for letting me win. With a thought, Gu Chansha retracted his armor and demon descending blade. If I didn't sneak attack, Brother Lei would have been able to crush me. He was shocked. Lei Tianhui's usage of Xiantian energy was even more magical than Yiming's. If Yiming faced this person, he might not be his match. One must know that Yiming had the 9 transformations glass J body, while Lei Tianhui had the 8 transformations Samadhi True Fire. When he heard Luo Wu's words, he felt that Lei Tianhui was extraordinary. Since he was the top junior in the Lei family and also a genius, he had to resort to tricks to make him feel awkward. Of course, it was also because he was too arrogant. If they really fought, Lin Fan's lightning calamity would be really strong. Even with the King Dragon armor protecting his body, he wouldn't be able to take it. After all, his realm was too low. If he could cultivate to the 4 transformations of the Tao realm, then he would be able to fight. Chapter 135. I will provide you with some interesting reading. XSYTXT Gu Chansha knew that he had risen up too quickly and many people were unhappy about it. He used this chance to show his strength and make some people wary. Although he had exposed his strength, it wasn't a bad thing. More importantly, after creating the clumsy fist, he had to compete with experts to find out how strong it was and what areas it could be improved on. After exchanging 2 punches with Gu Chansha, he felt the mysteriousness of his rage fist. When he fought Lei Tianhui, he learned a lot. Lei Tianhui used the Xiantian Earth Energy Lightning Tribulation to block the clumsy fist. His reflexes were quick, and his techniques were exquisite. Moreover, when the celestial energy struck him, the celestial energy deep in his dantian started to stir. It merged with the spiritual energy and started to merge into his bloodline. It flowed through his body. He felt that the Yuzhen acupoint at the back of his head was about to break through. He didn't have such a feeling when he fought Yiming, as he knew that Yiming would give in to him. There wouldn't be such a thrilling feeling during the battle. Old 19's cultivation actually improved so quickly. In the distance, 3rd Prince Gufan Sha saw everything and was shocked My cultivation has increased by leaps and bounds, and I have reached Tao Realm Transformation 6. I have cultivated the Xiantian Earth energy, but I am still far from Lei Tianhui's match. This person is a true genius, and maybe only Fan Rui can suppress him. There was a teen beside Gufan Sha, who was only 14 or 15 years old. He looked at Ku Rong coldly, like there was no life or death in his heart. Gufan Sha was a prince and was really polite to this teen. His words and actions were like he was trying to rope him in. Rui, what do you think of old 19th martial arts? That fist was quite strong. Gufan Sha asked the teen. It is just SOS so. The teen called Fan Rui didn't have much of an expression. He just comprehended a little. His armor and sword are not bad. But even with the armor and sword, I don't even need one move to kill him. Lei Tianhui is also trash. He actually couldn't tell that the armor and sword were crafted by him. To think that he is on the same level as me. How embarrassing. F.A. Wuxian didn't come this time. Gavasha purposely said Seventh wanted to ask him to help, but he refused. F.A. Wuxian is truly a formidable opponent. His eyes are as high as the heavens. He even wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with the heavenly talisman Immortal Emperor. When Brahma Ru heard the name, a competitive gleam appeared in his eyes. He cultivates a profound art himself, and even goes around searching for ancient ruins. He cultivates like a madman, and doesn't care about the heroes of the world. Although he's from a school of legalism, how could he possibly care about the seventh prince? You want to stand shoulder to shoulder with father? What a joke. Gavantia snorted. But I've heard rumors that he's a natural-born saint with limitless potential. I wonder if that's true. I'll show you when the time comes. I'll defeat him completely and destroy his halo of a born saint. Brahma Ru glanced around. Almost all of the immortal Tao disciples here are peerless geniuses. If I could fight them one by one, I'd be delighted. That's easy. Once the banquet is over, they'll have to stay here to represent their sects and wait for the court to move the capital. Father ordered the 72 arcane sects of the primordial immortal Tao to send their best disciples here to interact with the immortal Tao sections. This will lessen their arrogance toward the immortal Tao, and at the same time, allow the immortal Tao to blend into the mortal world. Gavasha knew about the court's plan. These immortal Tao cultivators haven't been in the mortal world for a long time, Brahma Ru said. They'll gradually develop the mentality that they're like ants in a mortal world. If this chapter isn't finished, please turn the page. In fact, some of the immortal Tao sects aren't even as strong as sage clans like ours. The legalism, Fan, and Hung clans had all produced sages in the past, and they'd remained standing for millennia. Their foundations surpassed many immortal Tao sections. Although the Lei clan didn't produce a sage, their ancestor was the Thunder God. They weren't any weaker than sage clans. Lei Tianhui and the 10th Prince Gujinsha had both failed, so they didn't have the face to stay. They left in a hurry and went to the other side of the garden. Lu Baiwa looked at Gu Chansha in a new light. I didn't expect your cultivation to improve so much. You'll probably shine in the future. You flatter me. Gu Chansha waved his hand. My cultivation isn't worth mentioning. I only relied on 2 treasures. I heard you obtained the 7 Sage Heart Refinement Pill. Lu Baiwa asked, Can you give me a few? If the Duke has more, I can trade for them with the best I have, Luo Wu said. Luo Wu also chimed in. I heard that a large amount of medicinal pills and treasures have gone missing from the chaotic, demonic Ape Temple's treasure vault. One of them was the 7 Sage Heart Refinement Pill. Guchinch's heart tightened, but then he relaxed. The news of him stealing treasures couldn't be hidden for long. Unless he never showed it to others, there would be traces. The first prince would probably find out that he was the culprit behind the heretic god's flesh and the kidnapping of Long Yuyun's parents. There were many immortal Tao sects, and their methods were beyond his imagination. It wasn't surprising that they knew many secrets. This has nothing to do with me. Guchin Shah, of course, wanted to push the blame away. He was still young. If the chaotic, demonic Ape Temple attacked, he wouldn't be able to hold them off. The fief he worked so hard to build would be reduced to ashes. I only negotiated with the Grand Preceptor Wenhong. He helped me with many things. I've already reported this to my father. He pushed the blame to the Grand Preceptor Wenhong, hoping to cushion the blow. The Grand Preceptor Wenhong's cultivation was unfathomable. He tore through the void, and his cultivation was close to that of the gods. The chaotic, demonic ape temple and some unruly people didn't dare to look for him. At the same time, it was a deterrent to those with ulterior motives. Let's not talk about this. Luo Wu smiled. If there are any extra 7 Sage Heart Refinement pills, I really want them. I can give them to the Duke with both hands. There are extra, but there aren't many left. Gu Chinch's heart ached when he thought about the black tortoise eating more than 300 pills. One was enough for a human. Who knew why it ate so many? I wonder what treasures Fairy Wu has to exchange. That depends on what the Duke needs. Our mystical Sky Dance sect is also an orthodox immortal Dao sect. Although it isn't as good as the Emperor's royal secret treasury or the God's treasure, we still have some wealth. Luo Wu's smile was unusually charming. Gu Chinch's heart stirred. He almost had the impulse to give away the 7 Sage Heart Refinement pills at any cost. However, after all, he had cultivated the Emperor's investiture technique and had also comprehended the clumsy punch. He had the high and mighty Emperor's will on him, so he instantly calmed down. Fairy, your smile can really turn the world upside down. At least I still have some self-control. Otherwise, I would definitely submit to you. You have good self-control, Duke. I didn't do it on purpose. Luo Wu said, our mystical Sky Dance sect enters the Tao with attitude. We can do demonic dances and turn the world upside down. We can also do heavenly maidens scattering flowers and awaken the wisdom of all living beings. Every action of ours contains the supreme principle of influencing people's hearts. How about this? If Fairy Wu agrees to help me resist the barbarian demonic ape temple's invasion, you can also come to my fee for a year and teach a few of my disciples. This chapter is not finished. Please continue. I'm willing to give you the 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill. Gu Qinsha thought about it and made a request. That's simple. Luo Wu was a little surprised. That's right. Gu Qinsha thought about it. He didn't have any treasures that he wanted. Now that the layout of his fief was complete, the black tortoise absorbed immortal energy and nurtured 9 treasures, turning the castle into a real paradise. He had the Heaven's Sacrifice talisman, a sword, and an armor. If he wanted other treasures, he would be greedy. The most important thing now was to deal with the demonic ape temple's revenge. If he could drag the mystical Sky Dance sect down with him, it would be much easier. Also, Luo Wu could turn the world upside down. If she could stay in his fief for a year, who knew how many nobles and nobles would flock to his fief? It would greatly increase the income of his fief. This was the way of the economy. The so-called economy was to help the people. That's good. I'll agree. Luo Wu thought about it and didn't mind. After the banquet is over and the Emperor summons me, I will go to your fief. It's a deal. After agreeing, Gu Qinsha turned to Lu Baiwei and said, Princess, our fief is very close to each other, and there are many connections we have yet to make. We can talk about the 7 Sage Heart Refinement pill later. It seems like you have something important to tell me. Lu Baiwen noticed that there was something wrong with Gu Qinsha's expression. It is indeed very important. Gu Qinsha nodded. He knew that Lu Baiwei was loyal to the Emperor. He felt that Grand Preceptor Wenhong said that if the Heavenly Talisman Immortal Emperor wanted to disappear, he should communicate with Lu Baiwei first. If the Heavenly Talisman Immortal Emperor really wanted to disappear, he would have a surefire plan. All right, let's talk about it after the banquet. Lu Baiwei agreed. She looked into the distance and said, Boss is here. As expected, the first prince, Gu Hongsha, walked over. 19th brother, you are very strong. The first prince, Gu Hongsha, was wearing a scholarly robe. He didn't look like a prince, but more like a scholar. His appearance was very different from the peerless ruler he used to be. However, there was a blood-colored rune in the depths of his left eye and a pitch-black vortex in the depths of his right eye. It was unknown what kind of demonic art he cultivated, but it sent chills down one's spine. Big brother, why do you say that? Gu Qinsha knew that he would have to face his first prince sooner or later. I will take back the things you took from my residence sooner or later. The first prince, Gu Hongsha, didn't conceal his murderous intent. I will take back the things my mother left behind. Gu Qinsha didn't show any signs of fear. Big brother, it won't be that easy to bully me like you did when I was young. Very well. The first prince, Gu Hongsha, laughed coldly. I think it will be very difficult for you to recruit the Baoyu country. There is no need for Big Brother to worry about it. Gu Qinsha knew that the sea was Gu Hongsha's territory. He had made Long Yuyun a general and Yu Hanlu the director of the Ministry of Commerce. He had ruined Gu Hongsha's plans on the sea and greatly damaged Gu Hongsha's interests. Gu Hongsha would probably go all out against him. Since you insist on going against me, don't blame me. The first prince, Gu Hongsha, nodded. He glanced coldly at Lu Baiwei and Luo Wu, then turned around and left. Big Brother has finally mastered the demonic art. The blood-colored rune in his left eye is the purgatory blood pool's vital energy. He used his willpower to subdue the blood god's remnant will. The pitch-black vortex in his right eye is the night vortex from the eternal heavenly book. Lu Baiwei flicked her finger and reminded Gu Qinsha. I thought his aptitude was ordinary. I didn't expect it to be so extraordinary. He must have had a fortuitous encounter. End of chapter. 50Z. Chapter 136. I will provide you with some interesting reading. Excess with TXT. Boss, this person is evil by nature. If anything happens to him in the future, he will definitely bring disaster to the world. Gu Qinsha also spoke the truth. He treats human life like grass. Where's the least bit of the law of the imperial court? Boss has indeed gone too far in some matters, so the emperor has also rebuked him this time. He has made Long Yuyun a general working under the Marquis of Calming Sea. I think his authority on the sea has been greatly restricted. Lu Baiwei clearly did not want to be on good terms with the first prince. The emperor is quite dissatisfied with him. Let's see if he restrains himself. If he ruins the emperor's plan, Lu Baiwei's two laughs were very disdainful. It seemed that she looked down on the first prince. The first prince was the head of the many princes. He had a tyrannical cultivation and great influence. His mother's family came from a sage family. Even immortal sects did not dare to look down on him. Yet, Lu Baiwei actually dared to look down on him. Gu Qinsha could not help but suspect that this woman might have obtained some kind of support. Her subordinates, the three incenses, were still working under her. These days, she had been using them quite smoothly. She was managing the affairs of the manor, communicating with Lu Baiwei's fief, conducting business, and negotiating with the nobles. She was better than her foster son and the others. Only Long Yuyun and the Frost Jade Dew were better than the three incenses. However, Long Yuyun had returned to Dragonsword Island and was too busy. Frost Jade had also become the director of the Ministry of Commerce and worked everywhere for the imperial court. She cannot be counted on. Of course, these two secretly worked for the imperial court for Gu Qinsha, so the fief benefited a lot. In the past few months, the specialties of the wilderness had been sold overseas. Many medicinal herbs, spices, and marine goods from overseas had also been transported to the wilderness. Otherwise, Wang Ji and Lan Qi would not have been able to produce so many medicinal pills. Even the Gu technique required various medicinal herbs. It was not just insects. If Wang Ji and Lan Qi did not rely on Gu Qinsha and search for medicinal herbs themselves, they would still be chased by the righteous sections. They would not have been able to achieve this. Everyone, please follow me. The emperor has set up a banquet in the Qian Palace to entertain everyone. Right at this moment, a voice sounded. A eunuch appeared at the entrance of the garden. His voice was not loud, but everyone could hear him clearly. It was Gao Ling, the chief steward of the 6 palaces. Many of the immortal Dao disciples here had their eyes at the top of their heads, viewing the world of mortals as ants. However, when they saw this person, they all revealed expressions of shock, as if they were extremely fearful. Who would have thought that the Six Paths Demon sect Master Takamagura, one of the 36 demon sects, would become a palace eunuch? Luowu was also quite shocked. Voices could be heard one after another. It was the disciples of the immortal Tao sects who were shocked. The ancient era's 72 profound sects of the immortal Tao and 36 evil sects, one righteous and one evil, stood in opposition to each other. The status and strength of the Six Paths Demon sect were equivalent to the top 10 sects of the 72 celestial sections. The sect leader was in a supreme realm and had comprehended the Six Paths mystic art. Many disciples of the celestial Tao had died because of the Sky Demon Orthodox sect. The immortal Tao disciples that came this time were all outstanding figures, and they were experienced and knowledgeable. They vaguely recognized great eunuch Gao Ling's true identity. Sect master of the Six Paths Demon sect, Takamagura. Gao Ling seemed to have heard these discussions. He turned his head and smiled. It was indescribably eerie and terrifying. The entire garden seemed to have turned into a demonic realm. Everyone here is a disciple of the celestial Tao. You are all high and mighty, and you don't care about the laws of the world. However, let me warn everyone here. Now that you are in the imperial court, you must follow the imperial court's rules. Everything under the heavens belongs to the emperor. When you meet the emperor later, don't be disrespectful. You must also kneel and greet him. When these words were said, many immortal Tao disciples were furious, but they didn't dare to flare up. Based on their intuition, they could feel that this great eunuch Gao Ling's demonic art could cover the sky and tear apart the sky. This chapter is not over. Please continue to the next page. Eunuch Gao has good intentions. Please don't take it to heart. At this moment, another eunuch came in front of them. He had a benevolent look on his face. He was Eunuch Wang, Constant Sorrow Demon sect leader, Wang Bei. Another wise person recognized this person. Not to mention these immortal Tao disciples. Even Gu Chunsha was extremely shocked. He didn't expect that the two eunuchs who often came to pass on decrees and interacted with him were actually sect leaders of the ancient 36 demon sects. The sect leaders of the immortal Tao were high and mighty. They looked down on the common people and were at the peak of all living things. The sect leaders of the demon Tao could cover the sky with one hand and devour the mountains and rivers. They were the ancestors of demons and ghosts. Now that Gu Chincha's cultivation was much more profound, he had read the ancient books diligently, and his experience had also gradually deepened. He already knew how strong the ancient 36 demon Tao sect leaders were. Black Demon Bat, Yin Yang Scholar, Hunter Poison Taoist, Blood Soul sect leader, these demons were just small fries. To the ancient Orthodox demon Tao, they were just outer sect disciples. Of course, the heavenly talisman Great Emperor didn't care about these small fries causing trouble among the common people because he wanted to train the abilities of his subordinates. As a supreme Great Emperor, it was impossible for him to care about such trivial matters. For example, in Gu Chincha's fief, there were a few barbarian slaves who rebelled. He couldn't personally suppress them. Instead, he sent a few captains and soldiers to settle them. In fact, he didn't even need to mobilize people of Lu Yu's level. The ones that required the heavenly talisman Great Emperor to personally take action were naturally at the level of the evil god, a true and lofty god. Similarly, the ones that required the ancient 36 demon Tao sect leaders to personally take action were these arrogant and unruly immortal Tao disciples. Gu Qinsha didn't dare to underestimate these disciples. Luo Wu was definitely much stronger than Yiming. Lei Tianhui was also stronger than Yiming. As for the youth beside Gu Qinsha, he also knew that he was definitely the most outstanding person in the Fan clan. None of these immortal Tao disciples were easy to deal with. Even one of them could turn the world upside down, not to mention the powers behind them. At this moment, with the appearance of the two eunuchs, Gu Chansha felt as though he could see the heavenly talisman Great Emperor telling the immortals in the eastern wilderness, "All of you have to kneel to me too." This was a game between the imperial court and the immortals. Guqinsha felt that he couldn't even be considered as one of them. He was too weak. He had painstakingly cultivated for a year and had many fortuitous encounters. But in the eyes of the immortal Tao sects, he was merely a child's play. Under the lead of the two ancient demon Tao sect leaders, the group of immortal Tao disciples felt that it was very strange, but they still followed them. Not long later, they passed through layers of palaces and arrived at the Qian Hall. The Qian Hall was extremely huge. The ceiling was actually made of glass, allowing sunlight to shine in. There were hundreds of tables placed in the hall. There were fruits on the tables, but they were quite ordinary. There were only fire dates and purplish-green peaches. Fire dates and purplish-green peaches were good things to the rich and powerful, but to these immortal Tao disciples, they were very ordinary. However, these immortal Tao disciples didn't have the mood to be picky. They were all focused on the two eunuchs. The Hexapath Devil Sect and Everlasting Sorrow Devil Sect leaders stood on two sides of the high and mighty thrones in the hall. Since ancient times, the Tao, Devil, and Demon factions had been at odds with each other. Demons and demons cooperated with each other, while immortals, immortals, and demons were like fire and water. But seeing the two Devil Tao sect leaders, these immortal Tao disciples didn't have any intention of exterminating the devils. These two weren't ordinary devils. They were the Devil Taoist ancestor. In order to kill these two, at least 10 immortal Tao sect leaders would need to set up a grand formation to trap the two Devil Taoist ancestors. Then, they would have to spend time to slowly refine them. With these immortal Tao disciples, they would be killed like vegetables. No matter how talented they were, it would be useless. After these disciples sat down, a voice suddenly rang out. His Majesty has arrived. If this chapter isn't finished, please flip the page. Great Emperor Heaven Talisman came out of the inner palace and sat on the throne. Son greets Emperor Father. All the princes went forward and kowed out. The other immortal Tao disciples hesitated, but Luo Wu was the first to come out. Heavenly Dance Mystic Sect disciple Luo Wu greets Emperor. With her taking the lead, these immortal Tao disciples all left their seats and bowed. No matter how unwilling they were, they could only kneel here. Not to mention the terror of the two ancient Devil Tao sect leaders. The true terror was still Great Emperor Heaven Talisman sitting on the throne. Everyone, please rise. Great Emperor Heaven Talisman raised his hand. These immortal Tao disciples hurriedly got up and looked at each other. All of them were furious. This was the imperial court of the mortal world. In their hearts, it was an unbearably filthy world, and they were immortals. They never cared about the officials of the imperial court. Now, they were kneeling together with the officials of the mortal world to worship the emperor. But there was nothing they could do. All of you must be feeling very uncomfortable in your hearts. Great Emperor Heaven Talisman looked at the hundreds of elite immortal Tao disciples and directly said, "All of you used to be lofty immortals. The moment you entered the immortal Tao, you were no longer subject to the laws of the mortal world. You even dared to kill officials of the imperial court in the name of purging demons. Today, I summoned all of you here to remind you that in the future, be it immortals or devils, all of you have to obey the laws of the imperial court. Don't think that the imperial court can't do anything to you just because you hide in your sections. Of course, if you come out and work for the imperial court will not be stingy with your rewards." These disciples still didn't speak. They communicated with each other through their gazes. Some of them had dark expressions, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. Summon the Iron Blood Marquis to the palace. Great Emperor Heaven Talisman didn't mind. He only issued the decree. Hearing the summons from the eunuch, the Iron Blood Marquis, who was waiting outside, walked into the palace. "This humble subject greets your majesty." The aura from the Iron Blood Marquis was extremely tyrannical. Clearly, he no longer concealed his true strength. As a Grand Marquis of the Imperial Court, he was someone who specialized in killing and making decisions. With a sweep of his gaze, some of the immortal Tao disciples actually saw a boundless battlefield. In the center of the battlefield, there was an iron blood flag that swept across the world. Everywhere it passed, the flames of war would burn. War god Iron Blood Flag. What identity does he have? It's rumored that when the ancient war god fell, he left behind a prophecy. If this flag appears, it would be the day he reappears in the world. Lei Tianhui was shocked. He didn't dare to say it out loud. In the Great Hall, the atmosphere was extremely tense. Are all the officials here? Great Emperor Heaven Talisman asked. Replying to your majesty, all the officials are waiting outside. Iron Blood Marquis replied. Call them in then. Great Emperor Heaven Talisman ordered. Yes, all officials. Enter the palace and have an audience with the emperor. Eunuch Gao Ling commanded. All the officials outside entered in a single file. Lu Chongxiao, Fong Lin, Minister Wen, Liang Tao, Zhu Xia. These were all officials from the upper study room. Other than them, there were also officials from various departments. There were more than 1,000 of them. All of them were the most influential officials in the imperial court. Any of the officials here today could cause a huge wave with a stomp of their feet. But now they could only bow and kowtow. The Great Hall was extremely spacious. It could easily accommodate tens of thousands of people. Even with hundreds of immortal Dao disciples and thousands of officials here, it didn't feel crowded at all. Iron Blood Marquis announced the recent illegal acts of the immortal Dao disciples. Although Great Emperor Heaven Talisman's tone was soft, it was like a bolt from the blue to Gu Chinch's ears. Could it be that Imperial Father is going to judge the immortal Dao? He had an inconceivable feeling. End of this chapter. 50Z. Chapter 137. I'll provide you with some interesting reading. XSWTXT. In the second year of the Heavenly Talisman, Elder Wang Ji of the Crimson Firmament Profound Sect, in order to find a successor, stole dozens of children from among the commoners and brought them back to the sect. The parents of those families were deeply grieved, and 5 of them died of grief. It was difficult for them to have a son, but in the span of a single night, the son disappeared. The Iron Blood Marquis announced the first crime. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor waved his hand and looked down. Which one of you is a disciple of the Crimson Sky Sect? I'm a direct disciple of the sect, Xiao Wujin. A young man stood up. He wasn't afraid, and his eyes were full of disdain. It's common for immortals to accept disciples among the people. The children of the common people were chosen by the immortals because of countless generations of good karma and virtue. They couldn't be happier. Why would they be heartbroken? As far as I know, among the babies that Wang Ji stole, some of them were used to plant flowers, raise grass, and clean for him. Some of them were used to raise wild beasts. A few of them were taught, but they died in the battle between the sections. Only 1 or 2 of them survived. What do you mean? The Iron Blood Marquis asked. Also, if Wang Ji wanted to accept disciples, why didn't he just go to the parents and ask for their permission? Xiao Wujin sneered. The path of cultivation is always bumpy. If you want to become an immortal, you have to be fearless of death. People die on the battlefield every second. It's useless to go to the parents. Those mortals don't understand the benefits of the immortal Dao. It's just a waste of time. All the disciples present agreed with Xiao Wujin's words. When any immortal Dao sect went down the mountain to recruit disciples, they would immediately sweep away those with good aptitude. It was impossible for them to ask their parents for a disciple. Children were their parents' flesh and blood. If someone came out of nowhere and wanted to take them away, the parents would definitely treat them as a liar and beat them up. If the immortal Dao was like this, then there was no way to accept disciples. According to the laws of great eternity, if someone wants to take a child away, they first need the parents' permission, and second, they need to file with the authorities. Otherwise, it's kidnapping. Even the parents can't treat them as private property. The Iron Blood Marquis said, "The laws of great eternity state that kidnapping and selling children is a heinous crime. Regardless of age or gender, they'll be executed." What do you mean? Does the imperial court want to execute us immortal Dao sects? Xiao Wujin crossed his arms, not afraid at all. In the eyes of many officials of the imperial court, his attitude was treasonous. Losing decorum in front of the emperor was also a serious crime. How dare you? An official from the Ministry of Rites stepped forward. Xiao Wujin, you've lost your composure in front of the emperor. Kneel down and apologize. Done. The celestial talisman, immortal monarch, waved his hand dismissively. Today, I invited all the disciples of the immortal Tao sects to a banquet. There's no need to fight and kill. I just want to make things clear to all of you. Some sects have gone too far in their actions, and I have no choice but to punish them. Currently, Elder Wang Ji is in the depths of the sect, cultivating our Crimson Firmament sect's supreme profound technique, the Crimson Firmament Divine Scripture, in seclusion. How will your majesty punish him? Xiao Wujin was still hugging his arms and looking around, as if he was mocking the other disciples for not daring to stand out. The imperial court invited us here to attend a banquet. We've long heard of the heavenly talisman Great Emperor's power. We came here to witness his glory, not to listen to his teachings. The elders of our sect will teach us how to do things. There's no need for the imperial court to worry. Even in the ancient times, when the ancient emperors received the recognition of the heavenly Tao and held the decree, they had to recognize the immortal Tao sections. Their disciples weren't restricted by the imperial court. This chapter isn't finished. An immortal Tao disciple stood up. Who are you? The Iron Blood Marquis asked. Nine Swords Mystical Gates direct disciple, Jian Chunkong. This youth's body was like a sharp sword. When he sat, it was hidden in the scabbard. When he stood up, it pierced the sky. Gu Qinsha sat quietly at the side. Only now did he realize that there was always someone better than him. He definitely wasn't a match for any one of them. In his eyes, Xiao Wujin and Jian Qinkong's strength was unbelievably strong. Any one of them had an overwhelming advantage in front of him. He even suspected that he, Yiming, and all the experts in his fiefdom wouldn't be a match for them. These disciples are really strong, Gu Qinsha whispered to Lu Baiwei. Of course, sects with tens of thousands of years of history aren't child's play. The disciples who came this time are also the best of their sect. They're here to test the imperial court. Lu Baiwei looked at these disciples with a teasing gaze. This time, the emperor wants them to be respectful and to obey the imperial court's laws. Will these people obey the imperial court's laws? Gu Qinsha didn't believe it. The immortal Tao hasn't had this habit since ancient times. Even the ancient emperors had to be polite to them. Let's watch. Lu Baiwei didn't say anything else. She just watched quietly. What the ancient emperors couldn't do doesn't mean I can't. After tens of thousands of years, the rules should change. Celestial Talisman Emperor said, I want to change the rules of heaven and earth so that everything can be followed. The immortal Tao is no exception. Xiao Wujin, do you think the imperial court won't be able to catch Wangji because he cultivates the Crimson Firmament Divine Scripture? Then please send someone to the Crimson Firmament sect and wait for the elder to come out of seclusion. Xiao Wujin wasn't afraid. That's simple. Celestial Talisman Emperor raised his hand and swiped in the air. In an instant, the void cracked open, and towering mountains appeared in the depths. Above the mountains, in the clouds, stood a huge palace. The palace spanned thousands of miles and was surrounded by countless rays of light and runes. The light formed golden chains that locked the void. Looking closely, there were many primordial beasts living outside the palace for the immortals to control. This palace was majestic and didn't belong to the mortal world. Crimson Firmament Mystic Sect's Crimson Firmament Palace. Some disciples recognized it. The sacred land of the immortal Tao, the orthodox mystic sect. Invulnerable to all demons, it had existed for tens of thousands of years. Since ancient times, the Crimson Firmament Mystic Sect had produced countless immortals. Celestial Talisman Emperor stretched out his hand. Everyone saw a domineering palm expand. In a few breaths' time, it covered the majestic Crimson Firmament Palace. This was Celestial Talisman Emperor's hand. His hand covered even the sky. The Crimson Firmament Palace seemed to be suppressed. Billions of immortal light shot out. But with a slight wave of the hand, the immortal light was extinguished. Then, countless people rushed out of the palace, using their magic treasures and all sorts of arts to attack the hand. It was almost a reenactment of the war between the immortals and demons. The hand waved again, and the immortals fell like rain. Nothing could harm the hand at all. It was an instant. This chapter isn't finished. Please turn the page. Suddenly, the crimson firmament gate of the 72 ancient profound gates was completely destroyed by the hand, and a person was dragged out from its depths. Celestial Talisman Emperor retracted his hand, and the crack in the void disappeared. He casually tossed the person down the hall. Instantly, a Taoist rolled down from the sky. This Taoist was shrouded in scarlet energy. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were sharp. He exuded a domineering aura. Who knew how many battles he'd gone through to develop such an aura? Elder Wangji. Xiao Wujin immediately recognized him. This was one of the strongest elders in the sect. Celestial Talisman Emperor actually dragged him out from the depths of the mountain gate. One must know that the mountain gate of the 72 ancient, profound, immortal sects had been tempered for countless years. Even the heavenly demons and evil gods couldn't do anything to it. Otherwise, it would have been annihilated long ago. But now, no one could stop a casual grab from Celestial Talisman Emperor. The entire mountain gate had tens of thousands of years of immortal Tao heritage. Even the immortals in the legends couldn't stop a single hand. Iron Blood Marquis. Celestial Talisman Emperor ordered. Here, Iron Blood Marquis stepped forward. Elder Wangji of the Crimson Firmament Gate kidnapped a child and broke the law. According to the law, he should be executed by 1,000 cuts. But on account of the fact that he's an immortal Tao sect and has many achievements in killing demons, he will be exempted from the death penalty. Celestial Talisman Emperor order him to open mountains, build roads, save people, mine and smelt iron for 3 years before he's allowed to be released. Yes, Iron Blood Marquis said to Elder Wangji, Wangji, this is His Majesty's mercy. He's letting you do good deeds among the people to make up for your past mistakes. What do you think? Celestial Talisman, you'll be punished by the heavens for your actions. You won't last long. You've insulted the immortal Tao and are worse than demons. Let's see how long you can be arrogant for. Elder Wangji cursed. Take him away. Celestial Talisman Emperor didn't care. The immortal Tao is also about accumulating good deeds. I told you to do more good deeds for the people, but you're still dissatisfied. How stubborn. At this time, 2 soldiers came in with chains. They wrapped them around Elder Wangji's neck and pulled him down. The immortal Tao disciples were silent. Some of them retracted their killing intent. Xiao Wujin and Jian Chengkong looked at each other helplessly. They weren't afraid at first, but Celestial Talisman Emperor was too strong. Even if they hid in the mountain gate, they couldn't escape the law. When the power of the imperial court shattered their backing, they felt as if all their courage had disappeared. Iron Blood Marquis continued. Celestial Talisman Emperor waved his hand again. Iron Blood Marquis listed out all the immortal Tao disciples' wrongdoings in these years. The evidence was conclusive. The immortal Tao disciples looked at each other. They didn't expect the imperial court to investigate so thoroughly. After a full 4 hours, he finally finished. Everyone heard it. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor listened quietly. Everyone involved here, surrender yourselves to the Yamen within half a year, and you will receive a lighter punishment. If you don't surrender yourselves after half a year, don't blame me or the imperial court. You can inform the culprits in the sect. Although Xiang Wangji cursed me, as long as he does good deeds for the people, I won't punish him. In a chapter, 50Z. Chapter 138. The Imperial Court is trying to convert the Immortal Tao sections. Guchen Sha thought about it. The Immortal Tao was extremely strong and could destroy a city with a single slash. If he could get them to work, it would be very efficient. Yiming used his Xiantian astral energy to dig the pond. A month's worth of work for hundreds of people was finished in an hour. The banquet went on for half a day, and the atmosphere was tense. No matter how unwilling the immortal Tao disciples were, they could only endure and listen to the emperor talk about the law, the people's livelihood, and the imperial court's rules. Many officials were secretly delighted, especially those from the Confucian sections. They couldn't bear to see the immortal Tao roam free and unfettered. Now that they had to submit to the imperial court, they felt that their orthodoxy was pure and the imperial court was at its peak. However, although the emperor showed his might, he didn't kill or cripple the immortal Tao disciples. Even when Xiao Wujin and Jian Chengkong argued, he let them off lightly. Celestial Dance Mystical Gate, Luo Wu. At this moment, the Heavenly Talisman Emperor instructed, Luo Wu greets your majesty. Luo Wu came out and cowed out. I summoned you a few days ago, and I'm glad that you're willing to work for the imperial court. The emperor said, today I'll allow your Celestial Dance Mystical Gate to recruit disciples from the common people and open a Celestial Dance Academy to cooperate with the imperial court. Thank you, your majesty. Luo Wu's face lit up. I won't be stingy with rewards for someone like you who's willing to work for the common people. The Heavenly Talisman Emperor opened his palm and a rainbow-colored light appeared, revolving around Luo Wu before transforming into a robe. This is a robe I condensed using my own energy. It can withstand a single attack from the gods. With this robe protecting you, you will be fine even if the gods attack you. Your Majesty's power is boundless, surpassing the ancient heavenly suns. The Celestial Dance Mystical Gate is willing to work for the imperial court. Luo Wu knew that the emperor's power was unparalleled in the heavens. Although this robe could only be used once, it was the same as having an extra life. Those sects that are willing to serve the imperial court, please discuss this with Princess Yuefu and have her report to me. The Celestial Talisman Emperor continued, Princess Yuefu will be in charge of this matter, with Prince Chun and Prince Hua as assistants. They'll deal with the imperial court and the immortal Tao. As you command. When Gu Qinsha heard that he was called, he quickly came out. The imperial court's connection to the immortal Tao was a major event. The Heavenly Talisman Immortal Emperor allowed Lu Baiwei to be the leader, while he and the fourth were the assistants. This was a sign of trust, and it also meant that the other princes were starting to fall out of favor. However, Gu Qinsha gradually understood that he truly had the world in his heart and was willing to do something for the common people. The other princes only knew how to fight for power and profit. They would do anything to increase their strength, even at the cost of bringing disaster to the world. For example, the eldest, 7th, 10th, and 3rd princes were all full of ambition. Today's matter ends here. After the series of announcements, the Heavenly Talisman Immortal Emperor seemed to have lost interest. You immortal disciples don't need to panic. My rules are actually for the sake of your cultivation. Come into contact with the world of mortals and understand the pain and suffering of the mortal world. Only then will you know what an immortal is. My cultivation is all comprehended in the mortal world. With that, he left. The banquet is over. Everyone, please leave the palace in order. Grand Eunuch Gao Ling called out loudly. Gu Qinsha was about to leave with the court officials when Eunuch Wang walked over. Princess Yuefu, Prince Chun, Prince Hua, please follow me. His Majesty wants to see you all alone. Understood. Gu Qinsha felt a few gazes landing on him. They were from the eldest, 7th, 3rd, and 10th princes. These princes were extremely jealous, but there was nothing they could do. Under Eunuch Wang's lead, the 3 of them walked into the depths of the palace. By now, Gu Qinsha already knew that this Eunuch Wang was the sect leader of the Constant Sorrow Devil sect, Wang Bei. He didn't dare to act rashly. Such a master of the Devil Taoist ancestors, every move could be seen clearly by him. There are no secrets to speak of. Gu Huasha, on the other hand, was full of smiles. He pulled Eunuch Wang aside and said, Sect leader Wang, I heard that your grief fist has already reached the profound realm of heaven and earth grief. Can you give me some pointers? I'm His Majesty's servant now. I'm no longer the sect leader of the Devil Tao. Fourth Master, you mustn't joke around. Eunuch Wang hurriedly said, The so-called Glyph fist is inherited from the ancient shaman path. Cultivating this fist must go against one's heart. The so-called Glyph is from the wrong and the heart. If it's not the heart, it's grief. Since Fourth Master has already comprehended your own fist Tao, it's fine if you don't learn this fist. Moreover, His Majesty's cultivation is 10,000 times stronger than mine. Fourth Master and His Majesty are father and son. If I'm humble and eager to learn, I'll be truly invincible under the heavens after receiving His Majesty's guidance. I want to learn all kinds of fists. If I combine all fists into one, I'll be able to form a school of my own. Gu Huasha was confident and at ease. As they spoke, the three of them had already arrived outside another small hall. This small hall was very exquisite and simple. His Majesty is waiting for the three of you inside. Eunuch Wang stood at the side. The three of them stepped in the hall and were about to kneel down when they heard the heavenly talisman Great Emperor say, "There's no need to bow. Sit down." Gu Chunsha raised his head and saw the heavenly talisman Great Emperor standing in front of a star map. Countless stars were swirling continuously, making one think of the depth of the universe and the vastness of the world. What do the three of you think about accepting the immortal Tao into the imperial court? The heavenly talisman Great Emperor asked. His Majesty, the immortal Tao has been passed down from the ancient times, and its magic powers are profound. The 72 mystic gates have the ability to penetrate through the heavens and earth. If we can use our own strength to benefit the common people, it'll be a blessing for the world. However, all of them are high and mighty and view mortals as ants. It won't be easy for His Majesty to get them to work for the imperial court. Liu Baiwei didn't mince her words. The ancient humans had sages whose cultivation far surpassed those immortals. However, they remained in the mortal world to pass down their teachings and leave behind stories of praise. I feel that we should use the virtues of those sages to influence the people of the immortal Tao. Gu Qinsha gave his opinion. He had consumed the 7 Saint Heart refinement pill before and knew that the 7 sages of the ancient humans were indeed compassionate and compassionate. They were moral role models. The immortal Tao is different from the Saint Tao. The immortal Tao is ethereal and transcendent. It focuses on eliminating human nature and harmonizing with the heavenly Tao. The Saint Tao focuses on upholding righteousness, cherishing the common people, and educating the world. Gu Huasha said, but ultimately, the Saint Tao has gradually influenced the immortal Tao. The immortal Tao also focuses on doing good deeds. I feel that we can merge the Saint Tao into the immortal Tao and combine the two. Not bad. The heavenly talisman Great Emperor's eyes shone with approval. This matter isn't something that can be done in a day. Baiwei is right. If the immortal Tao can really benefit the common people, how prosperous would the world be? They also came from the common people. Once they had a fortuitous encounter and escaped from a difficult situation, how could they bear to watch the common people struggle? Imperial Father, we will definitely complete this task well. Gu Qinsha said, although the immortal Tao's disciples are strong, I have the confidence to deal with them. Very good. The heavenly talisman Great Emperor nodded. You've done well recently. You've dealt a heavy blow to the demonic ape temple and recruited people from the venomous poison sect. You've made them use insects to refine pills and cure people. You've greatly reduced the insect infestation in the barren wilderness. You've done more than Little Tin and the others. Gu Chunsha hurriedly said, this is what I should do. I don't dare call it a meritorious deed, but I'm relying on Imperial Father's might. Otherwise, the immortal Tao's disciples would have come knocking on my door to exterminate the demons and devils. Given my strength, I'm still far from being able to compete with them. You've hit the nail on the head. The heavenly talisman Great Emperor frowned. Among the three of you, Little Four is the most outstanding and can exchange a few moves with the immortal Tao's disciples. Baiwei hasn't awakened yet. 19, you're the weakest. Of course, I can turn you into peak experts in an instant. It won't be difficult for you to ascend to godhood. But there are some paths that you have to walk on yourself. If I do everything, what's the point of my existence? Everything I've done is to teach the masses to stand on their own 2 feet. In the end, even without me, you can still walk on this difficult path. Moreover, you'll be able to walk steadily without falling. That's all. Hearing the heavenly talisman great emperor's words, Gu Chunsha didn't know why, but an ominous feeling welled up in his heart. Among them, the heavenly talisman great emperor had said something that shocked him the most. That was, it wouldn't be difficult for them to ascend to godhood. What was godhood? It was the manipulation of the heavenly Taos, the comprehension of fortune and fortune. They were almost immortal. Life and death could be extinguished with a single thought, and they could turn a speck of dust into a desolate wasteland with a flick of their fingers. How many cultivators wanted to ascend to godhood but failed? Even if the ancient heavenly sons of heaven held the heavenly sacrificial talisman and truly obtained the world, condensed the heavenly sun's chi, and conferred godhood upon mortals, it was merely a conferment. Those who were conferred godhood were already infinitely close to godhood. What kind of cultivation realm was it to turn Gu Chunsha, Lu Baiwe, and Gu Huasha into godhood? Even the heavenly Taos might not be able to do it. But the heavenly talisman great emperor said, it's not difficult. What kind of innate ability was this? Fate and fortune revolve around itself. Even gods can escape death. The heavenly talisman great emperor's voice was ancient and desolate. If I decide your future path, it's equivalent to cutting off all possibilities of change. The three of them fell silent. They naturally didn't understand the heavenly talisman great emperor's words. In their eyes, this emperor was right before their eyes, yet he was infinitely far away, untouchable. They always felt that this was a distant dream. How could an emperor of the mortal world be so powerful? How could the ancient heavenly sons be so powerful? How could the gods of the heavens be so powerful? But at this moment, this powerful person was standing right in front of them, talking to them. Was this a dream? I suddenly thought of the future. The heavenly talisman great emperor waved his hand, and the atmosphere became lively. Knowing too much and being able to see through the future is not a pleasant thing. Baiwe, what do you think will happen if I suddenly disappear one day? Your Majesty, Lu Baiwe exclaimed. She didn't dare to imagine that scene. Don't worry, I'll be frank. The heavenly talisman immortal emperor stared at the ceiling, as though he was peering through the ceiling at the untouchable heavenly Tao of fate. All good things must come to an end. I'm sure all of you know that my actions have broken the rules that have existed since time immemorial. Of course, in the past, present, and future, there's nothing that can do anything to me. Chapter 139. If the world falls into chaos, will the three of you be able to stabilize the situation? Celestial Talisman Emperor asked. This subject has the heart, but my cultivation is too shallow. Not to mention stopping the immortals, demons, and barbarians from taking revenge on the court. I can't even deal with a single elite immortal Tao disciple. Lu Baiwe spoke the truth. This subject's eyes are at the top of my head, but your Majesty's gathering of immortal Tao disciples made this subject realize that there is always someone better out there. This subject can't deal with any one of them. When Gu Chunsha heard this, he knew that Lu Baiwe's strength was limited even though she was strong. She had only stepped into the Tao realm a few months earlier than him, and although she had many secret arts, they were still limited. Strength doesn't matter, as long as you have the heart. Celestial Talisman Emperor said, the three of you have the heart for the people, which is why I summoned you alone. I believe you've heard the rumors that the day I move the capital, there will be a sacrifice to the heavens. There might be a phenomenon, so it's good for you to be prepared. As expected, Gu Chunsha's heart stirred. I conquered the 100 kingdoms, conquered the world, and built a new capital in the desolate wilderness. The world's population has multiplied in the past 15 years, and the lifespan and strength of the people have also increased. Other than that, I've also started to integrate the immortal Tao into the court system. The immortal Dao sects are now part of the great Yonko court, obeying the laws of the court. Even the most prosperous heavenly sons of ancient times couldn't compare to this. During such a grand era, the karmic luck is sufficient to affect the heavenly Tao and cause it to undergo a change. Celestial Talisman Emperor spoke calmly. I summon the three of you today to let you be mentally prepared. Since you've accepted the matter of the immortal Tao, you have to bear the karma. There will be tribulations during the sacrifice, and there will be more difficulties in the future. Do you regret it? Your son does not regret it. Your son does not regret it. The three quickly answered. Very good. Celestial Talisman Emperor was very satisfied. The greater the difficulties, the greater the achievements. There's a deep reason why the immortal Tao has never been integrated into the court. This is also the law of heaven and earth. By forcing them into the court, I've already broken the balance of the heavenly Taos. The three of them listened quietly. They didn't understand this level at all. However, Guqinsha was very clear about the Son of Heaven's aura. When a country was at its peak and had a large population, the people were strong and intelligent, and all of them constantly strived to improve themselves. The Son of Heaven's aura was very strong. However, there was a limit to this. If one was too strong, there would be a tribulation. For example, the emperor's subordinates would like the emperor if they could make contributions. But if their contributions were too great, their contributions would be too great to shock the emperor, and they would inevitably end up in a miserable state. The emperor was a subject of the high heavens, so it was the same. Originally, the heavenly talisman immortal emperor had already built the great Yonko to its pinnacle. That was still fine, but this time around, he actually wanted to integrate the entire immortal Tao into the imperial court. This was already breaking through the limits of the heavenly Tao. Has the emperor already incorporated the devil path into the system of the imperial court? Liu Baiwei suddenly asked. I didn't expect eunuch Gao Ling and eunuch Wang to be the sect masters of the Six Paths demon sect and the Constant Sorrow demon sect. What if their demonic nature breaks out and it's hard to suppress them? This emperor is well aware of this. The heavenly talisman immortal emperor didn't mince his words. The people from the Heavenly Designer Institute are mostly from the devil path. If it weren't for them, the world wouldn't have developed as it is today. The two hall masters of the Heavenly Designer Institute, Ghost Axe and Godcraft, are the supreme ancestors of the Yama sect and original Sin sect. They were persuaded by this emperor to join me. Yama sect, original Sin sect. Guqinsha had read about these two sects in ancient books before. These two sects were the origin of the devil path, the source of all evil. You guys can just listen to this matter. The heavenly talisman immortal emperor pondered for a moment before continuing. This emperor wants you guys to integrate the immortal Tao into the imperial court. Given your current strength, it's indeed very difficult. This emperor can't directly raise your cultivation, but I can give you guys some opportunities. Speak. What do you want the most now? Imperial Father is testing us to see if the things we need are truly beneficial to our cultivation. At the same time, he wants to see what path we choose to walk. Guqinsha thought to himself. He immediately said, Father, I have always hoped to read all the books in the world and learn all the knowledge in the world. If I can enter the royal library to study again and read all the books, I will have no regrets in my life. There's no need for that. The heavenly talisman immortal emperor waved his hand, and a thin book made of light landed in Guqinsha's hands. This book contains all the books in the royal library. When you return, drip a drop of blood on it, and you will be able to read it. Many thanks, Imperial Father. Guqinsha hurriedly knelt down to express his gratitude. He didn't think that a thin book could contain all the books in the royal library. He couldn't wait to open it and read it. He had always loved to read, and it was normal for him to have a book in his hands. When he was young, because he didn't have the resources to practice martial arts, he could only study diligently. This became a habit. In the past few days, he had collected all sorts of books, including history, literature, poetry, agriculture, martial arts, astronomy, geography, astrology, etc. But how could his collection be compared to the royal library? What about the two of you? The heavenly talisman Immortal Emperor asked Lu Baiwe and Gu Huasha. His Majesty has already imparted enough knowledge to me. I haven't mastered it yet, so I don't need to be greedy. Lu Baiwe thought for a moment before replying. That's right. The heavenly talisman Immortal Emperor looked at Gu Huasha. Your son is at a critical juncture in comprehending my own profound arts. I also wish to rely on my own strength. Gu Huasha indicated that he didn't need it. It seems like the three of you know what path to take in the future. The heavenly talisman Immortal Emperor was slightly satisfied. Since that's the case, you can take your leave. The three of them hurriedly retreated, walking for an hour before leaving the palace. Don't you have something to discuss with me? Lu Baiwe stopped and looked at Gu Qinsha. It's not convenient to speak here. Gu Qinsha turned to Gu Huasha and said, Fourth brother, let's discuss it together. I want to talk about what we should do if something happens to Imperial Father. Earlier, Imperial Father looked for us to discuss this matter. Let's go to my residence first. Lu Baiwe waved her hands. The three of them entered Lu Baiwe's residence on the other side of the street. This was a big courtyard she had recently built. It was dozens of acres in size. Although it wasn't big, it had many layers. It was a bit deep and serene. The feng shui formation was used to gather spiritual qi, and many warriors were raised in the mansion. The three of them sat down in the study room. Gu Qinsha was the first to speak. We have to think of a surefire plan. There's no other way. Although Gu Huasha was a genius, he was also at his wit's end. Right now, the world is like riding on a tiger. Only Imperial Father can suppress it. If Imperial Father disappears, even an ancient god wouldn't be able to control the situation. The most important thing now is for the three of us to stick together. Lu Baiwe frowned. Although she was ambitious, she knew that she was nothing but an ant in front of the big picture. Even if His Majesty summons the three of us alone, it would be the same. That's right. There's no need for us to work together. Gu Qinsha took out 2 golden bottles. These are the 7 Sages' Heart Refinement Pills I obtained from the demonic ape temple of confusion. I'll give them to fourth brother and you, Baiwe. It'll help you improve your cultivation. If that's the case, I won't stand on ceremony. Lu Baiwe and Gu Huasha looked at each other. They could feel Gu Qinsha's sincerity. They took the 7 Sages' Heart Refinement Pills. Lu Baiwe opened the bottle and swallowed the pill. A golden light flashed, and black and white yin and yang chaotic colors appeared in her eyes. Not bad. The Taoist rhyme of the ancient human 7 sages is not to be underestimated. I've comprehended many truths that I've never comprehended before. She clenched her hand, and hundreds of explosions sounded in her body. Innate vigor qi surged out from the meridians in her palm. In the blink of an eye, a hole appeared in the wall. It silently melted. The Xiantian vigor qi pierced through the wall without being damaged at all. It reached the fake mountain in the courtyard and pierced through it. Then, it hit the other wall and disappeared. Xiantian vigor qi. Gu Huasha was shocked. It's actually so strong. Is this father's great massacre god technique? Not bad. Lu Baiwe nodded her head. I haven't been able to break through this stage. The spiritual energy in my body is gathered, but I'm unable to condense it and spew it out. However, when I listened to the 7 Sages' Tao rhyme, I comprehended it. Gu Qinsha was astonished by what he saw. He knew the power of the innate gang qi. The walls of this house were made of steel and stone mud. They were abnormally sturdy. Although the innate gang qi could blast them open, it would consume a lot of energy. Furthermore, when the Xiantian astral energy was shot out, it was explosive and would directly blow up the wall. But Lu Baiwe's Xiantian astral energy melted the wall. This kind of cohesiveness had reached an unimaginable level. With such strength, even Tao Realm Transformation 7 or 8 sages wouldn't be her match. Moreover, that was just a casual strike, and she only used 30 to 40% of her strength. If she went all out, who knew how strong she would be? Baiwe, how many strikes can you use Xiantian Vigor Qi at full strength? Gu Huasha asked. This was the key point. People who had just entered Tao Realm Transformation 6 could at most strike a few times with earth energy, but not more than 10. As for those innate geniuses with powerful meridians, they could unleash dozens or even hundreds of strikes. Endless. Lu Baiwa took in a deep breath and said 4 words. Impossible. Gu Qinsha and Gu Huasha said. Gu Huasha shook his head. A person's acupoints and dantian have limited storage. Even a natural saint can't use Xiantian Vigor Qi endlessly. Based on what I know, Fa Wuxian is a natural saint, and he can only hit 1,000 at Tao Realm Transformation 6. What does Fa Wuxian count for? Lu Baiwa laughed coldly. He is worlds apart from the Emperor. The Emperor's great massacre god technique is invincible, and even gods can't understand how exquisite it is. Since ancient times, there has been no lack of saints, but there has only been one emperor. Gu Huasha thought about it and agreed. Heaven Talisman Emperor was the strongest expert in history. So how could the techniques he created be something that any saint or god spirit could compare to? But he still couldn't understand how endless Xiantian Vigor Qi was. Chapter 140. Combining the Great Slaughtering Divine Technique and the Great Devouring Divine Technique, you could defeat any peerless geniuses, innate saints, and even children of destiny. Lu Baiwa sighed. Unfortunately, the Emperor said that only I can cultivate this technique, and no one else is suitable. Or rather, I'm a test subject, and I don't know if I'll succeed or fail. If I succeed, then everyone in the world can cultivate it. If I fail, then I'll die. You're so brave. When Gu Qinsha heard this, it was as if he had just met Lu Baiwa for the first time. I'd like to find a chance to spar with you and see how exquisite this technique is. He had created the clumsy fist, and now he needed all kinds of battles to enrich himself. This technique is very powerful, and it can kill if I use it. Even I can't control it. Let's talk about it when I can control it. Lu Baiwa shook her head. Then forget it. Gu Qinsha could see that the Great Slaughtering Divine Technique was invincible, and it was not easy to resist. Thank you for giving me the 7 Sage Cultivation Pill. Together with the Tiger Wolf Pill, I owe you 2 favors. Lu Baiwa smiled faintly. Last time you gave me the Tiger Wolf Pill, but I didn't return the favor. Do you think I'm greedy? You're thinking too much. Gu Qinsha laughed. The Tiger Wolf Pill is not a rare item to me, so I gave it to you. If you need it, I can provide you with a large batch. What kind of fortuitous encounter did you have? Lu Baiwa was a little surprised, but she didn't ask further. In that case, I really need a large number of Tiger Wolf pills, but I won't take them for free. These are 2 dragon scales. You can fuse them with your sword and armor to improve the abilities of your armor and sword. As she spoke, Lu Baiwa gently rubbed a jade bracelet on her wrist, and 2 palm-sized scales appeared on her hand. These scales were heavy, and there were many natural runes carved on them. A boundless power, similar to that of the black tortoise, filled the whole room. Gu Qinsha's body couldn't help but lean back, and he felt his soul being oppressed by an ancient divine beast. Dragon scale, what level of dragon? It has such power. Gu Qinsha was shocked. Your bracelet is a Grotto Heaven level treasure? These are the scales of the ancient king dragon. I got them from the ancient king Zishu's tomb. I got them from the ancient king Zishu's tomb. I got them from Zishu's tomb. Lu Baiwa rubbed the jade bracelet again. This bracelet is indeed a Grotto Heaven level magic treasure. I obtained it from ancient Void's tomb. Grotto Heaven level magic treasures are extremely rare. Even in the ancient mystical sects, there are very few of them. However, the giant spirit god ring your mother left you is also a Grotto Heaven level magic treasure. It contains space. Unfortunately, it has fallen into the hands of the eldest son, Gu Danjian. Zishu's king saint god king, Zishu's tomb Zishu god, Zishu's Grotto Heaven level of Zishu. King Zishu's king, Gu Qinsha, knew the wonders of a Grotto Heaven level artifact. He had relied on the sun-moon sacrificial altar to avoid being discovered when he was in danger. Gu Chunsha knew how amazing grotto heaven-level treasures were. He relied on the sun-moon altar to avoid being discovered. This ring was meant for you to stand out among the other princes. Lu Baiwe handed over the dragon scale. Gu Chunsha took the dragon scale and caressed the runes on it. He felt waves of dragon qi seeping into his body through his pores, putting great pressure on his mind. Gu Chunsha took it and touched the runes on it. He felt like dragon energy seeped into his body through his pores and placed huge pressure on his mind. The horn dragon armor actually turned you into the king dragon armor. I really don't know how you refined it. Lu Baiwe was really envious. My ice horn dragon armor has been refined many times, but it is only at the level of the great dragon armor. It can fly, but it doesn't have as many transformations as the king dragon armor. With this armor, normal Dao Realm Transformation 8 or 9 experts can't do anything to you. Baiwe, did you notice that the king dragon armor has changed? It can actually absorb and spit out spiritual energy. Gu Huasha said, it has already formed its soul. How can normal king dragon armors compare to it? I noticed it long ago. His sword is the same. Lu Baiwe nodded her head. But that is your secret, so I won't ask. I obtained some miraculous encounters from the chaotic world, demon, ape, god temple. Gu Chunsha said, but it is really dangerous and I can't hide it for long. The experts from the chaotic world, demon, ape, god temple will attack at any moment. I hope that all of you can help me. That is not a problem. Gu Huasha also got his own land. If the three of us work together, our strength will increase greatly. Then, it is a deal. Gu Chunsha calmed down. With the help of Lu Baiwe and the fourth, as well as the Sky Dance mysterious sect, that would be enough. The three of them discussed the details of the cooperation and only left at night. Gu Chunsha urged the King Dragon armor to fly back to his own land. The King Dragon armor could now absorb spiritual energy and slowly evolve. It was as if it had cultivated into a monster. Its flying speed also increased rapidly. In almost an hour, it reached the sky above the land. It slowly descended and returned to his study. When he was in the sky above the land, he felt a faintly discernible fluctuation around his body. He felt happy when he felt his own aura. Not bad. The formation in this castle is very effective. Gu Chunsha knew that the fluctuation came from the formation that enveloped the entire castle. If it felt a strange aura, it would immediately identify and attack. He was the owner of the castle and had used his blood to refine the golden talisman. The chaotic world, demon, ape god temple also had a similar formation. Back then, he had obtained the token of the shadow priest. Otherwise, he would have been discovered. Landing in his bedroom, Gu Chunsha saw that the black tortoise egg was still absorbing immortal energy. It seeped into the ground. The depths of the ground nurtured endless vitality. He took a deep breath. When the air entered his body and combined with his blood, there was a warm current circulating around his meridians. It strengthened his physique, strengthened his meridians, and even rose to the brain. It combined with the spirit, allowing one's soul and body to greatly evolve. This is the magical effect of the combination of immortal energy and earth veins. Gu Chunsha was slightly happy, not to mention the cultivation of the people living in this castle. Even their armors and weapons will evolve. He had 6,300 sets of horned dragon armor. It was not easy to maintain them daily. They had to be maintained in the spirit-gathering formation. Now, there was no need at all. He could just leave them in the warehouse. The horned dragon armor would absorb immortal energy and earth veins for a long time. It might evolve into the horned dragon armor in a few years. As for the white tiger adamant sabers, they would also become sharper. Even the stored food would become better than the Herculean bull's beef. The other herbs and fruit trees would be immortalized, be it the fire dates or the purple-green immortal peaches. Their speed and quality would be far better than normal. I'll upgrade the king dragon armor and the demon subduing blade first. The scales of the ancient king dragon are rumored to be the best material for refining magic treasures. Gu Chunsha's cultivation gradually deepened. He gradually understood many of the tricks of refining magic treasures in the sun and moon refinement. Although he was not very good at refining magic treasures, he gradually gained some understanding. Sun and moon dragon fire. He sacrificed his blood to summon the sun and moon dragon fire. The flames burned on the two dragon scales. Normal flames could not do anything to the ancient king dragon scales. Even the primordial spirit fire of an extremely strong expert could not do anything to them. However, the sun and moon dragon fire was a flame obtained from the heavenly Tao. It could be used as it pleased. It could even refine the heavenly demon relic. As the sun and moon dragon fire burned the dragon scales, they began to soften. They turned into many runes and then fused with the sword and armor. Guqinsha drew runes on the sword and armor over and over again. He poured his blood into it and injected his essence, qi, and spirit. His blood and spirit were greatly consumed. He was a little weak, so he quickly consumed heavenly dew to make up for it. He still had 2.5 barrels of heavenly dew, so he could drink it without fear. If he had not sacrificed the evil god's flesh and blood, he could forget about hatching the black tortoise egg. He would not have been able to cultivate the armor and sword to such a level. Sun and moon refinement, heaven and earth change. The dragon enters the bone marrow and transforms the god. Guqinsha did not know how long he had been refining, but he suddenly pointed. The two dragon scales were completely burned by the sun and moon fire dragon and fused into the sword and armor. The sword floated up and turned into a small dragon that kept swimming. The king dragon armor also turned into a small dragon that chased after the sword, forming a yin-yang cycle. Guqinsha communicated with his blood. He could already feel that the sword and armor had clearly changed after absorbing the two ancient divine dragon scales. Sun and moon twin dragons. When Guqinsha saw the two dragons swimming, he suddenly had a whole new understanding of the sun and moon dragon technique. He stood up and struck different postures like a dragon swimming. His hands were like dragon claws, creating layers of afterimages as he grabbed the small dragon formed by the sword armor. In an instant, the essence energy of the ancient divine dragon scales returned and fused with his blood. Kacha! The strand of immortal energy that formed a pearl in his body immediately exploded, mixing with his essence, energy, and blood, incomparably intimate. An aura in his body charged through the jade pillow acupoint at the back of his head and opened up a cycle of energy. Rumbling spiritual energy flowed between his diaphragms. His skin constricted, and he actually became much smaller. His bones were so compressed that cracking sounds could be heard. But endless power rose up from his bones and diaphragms. Kung! His body gave off the sound of metal clashing. Each inch of his skin and bones gave off the smell of metal and were indestructible. At that moment, he was no longer a human. Tao Realm, third transformation, copper skin and iron bones. He had finally reached such a realm. Pung! He took out a fire talisman spear and fired at his body. When the bullet hit his body, it exploded with a giant fireball. It only caused his vital energy to be slightly unstable, but his skin and flesh were fine. Very good. My Tao Realm third transformation copper skin and iron bones are much stronger than other experts. If I go one step further and reach Tao Realm fourth transformation, my organs will be like a furnace and my vital energy won't be unstable. Guqinsha checked his body and was delighted. After reaching Tao Realm third transformation, his strength increased greatly. Even if he didn't use the demon descending blade and king dragon armor, he still had terrifying killing ability. Sun and moon dragon skin, sun and moon dragon scales, sun and moon dragon tendons, sun and moon dragon blood, and sun and moon dragon bones. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.